I'm live! Hello, everyone! I'm trying to. Obviously, the camera's over there, and I'm reading off the screen here, so I'm trying to keep an angle that's suitable. But hi, everyone! How are you? Hopefully, you can hear me okay. Hopefully, the sound's okay. So, Nick, thank you so much for the congratulations. Thank you also, Ken. And Leslie, lovely Leslie. And Willow the Kid, thank you. And also, Nia, thank you for joining. How is everyone today? I'm assuming it's Saturday for all of us. I wonder if I could just move the mic to be in a more the projectile space. If I pop it there, it may be a little bit more effective at picking up the voice. And hopefully, you weren't catching me singing at the beginning of this when I was waiting for it to load. I rewatched the beginning of Squid Game, and there's a rendition of Fly Me to the Moon, and it's just been in my head for ages, like seriously ages. I keep waking up singing Fly Me to the Moon. Oh, Small Decisions, thank you so much. And also Michelle, thank you, I really appreciate it. Well, it's kind of just a casual little tea party today. I don't normally stream without like thank you, Jenny, I've just seen it, thank you, I really appreciate it. I've got a little cup of tea here. My dog has a little pineapple on the floor with her treats in, which is, if you join me on my live streams over my second channel, you know that's her go-to like thing to distract her whilst I'm streaming. She's not been eating her food recently, which is a bit worrying. I had to do a thing the other night where she hadn't eaten all day, so I poured her some like dry kibble, and I had to pretend to eat it first, and I would like go yum yum yum, and then give it to her, and she ate it one by one from my hand, but only if I fake ate it beforehand. And I was just like, it's so funny how our pets just have these little personality quirks. Counter Claus, thank you so much for the congratulations. And Angela as well, thank you so much. And Hermes the Third, sincerest fondest from Brazil, thank you, I really appreciate it. Oh no, I'm so scared of mispronouncing your name. Simao, Simeo, potentially. My dyslexia reads everything wrong. Thank you for the kind words. And Freya, hello. And Marcus, this calls for fine vodka and tonic. I don't know, I've never had a vodka and tonic, actually. I've got a little apple and pear tea, but it's very hot, so I'm avoiding it at the moment. And oh, thank you, Katerina. Lovely to see you here. Thank you. And Tristan, happy dancing for you. Thank you. I've had gin and tonic, and I quite like that. There's a brand called Edinburgh Gin, and there's a raspberry flavour, and it's lovely. There's also a rhubarb flavour. Jana says congratulations, thank you, and of course beautiful library. Thank you so much. It's actually quite messy. I'm very sorry. Actually, I'm always messy. My library is always messy. And Naya, my Edith has the same issue due to the heat. Really? Okay, that makes me feel a bit better, Naya. It could be the heat, because obviously as well my dog's very fluffy, so she's probably feeling the heat a lot more as well. Oh, thank you for being so lovely, Simeo. And John, thank you so much, John, for the congratulations. And Magna, Chinsia, got the big number. Let's go. This makes up for you making me spitting out my tea hearing you read Lolita in the Roald Dahl video. I'm sorry. I actually haven't read Lolita. I've avoided it. Even though people said I would love it, obviously based on the concept of what it is, it's not saying you read for the concept, you read it for the writing. Magozata, hello, congrats 100k, thank you. I've been watching you since your postmodernism video. That must have been 2015 or 2014, that's a while ago. And thank you, the Big D, for keeping up the good work, I shall. Astrid, thank you very much for congratulations. And Freya, my cat stopped eating, it was because he was in pain. Oh, well, she's eating treats, put it that way. I'm sorry your little cat went through that, Freya. My dog's eating all her treats. She won't eat her healthy food. She's a bit like me there. I'll eat the treats. Brianne, thank you so much for the kind congratulations. I really appreciate it. Oh, bless you, Small Decisions. Thank you for the 99 cents. I think that's like my first ever little donation. I don't normally live stream on here. No, that's really cute. Thank you. And thank you, Elysium. Sorry, I missed people, so I need to pop up. John says messy libraries are a sign of an advanced mind. I'm not sure if I can claim that. I think my messy library is just, I keep picking up books and putting them down. I'm grabbing another one and putting it down. I'm not very advanced. It's just more like scatty. Hermes, thank you. So Hermes says, Chinzia, yours is the best channels. That's really generous of you to say so, Hermes. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Thank you. I'm hoping to improve the filming quality. I really am. I have some ideas for my second channel with how I want to film things. I'm not a natural filmmaker, but hopefully I can improve it and encourage more people. Oh, Naya's got a little miniature poodle, so she's warm. Yes, it could be that. Hopefully it's that. She's eating all her treats and she's drinking water, and I think that's fine. Philip says, love gin and tonics. They're not my favourite. Whiskey's my favourite, but I do like the raspberry gin and tonic in Edinburgh Gin. Edinburgh Gin is the fanciest stuff. It's so lovely. And Whitney, thank you for the congratulations. I really appreciate it. I've said thank you to Elysium, haven't I? But lovely to see you, Elysium. Freya says, Lolita is boring and pretentious as fuck. I now have to read it. I love it when people hate a book. It kind of encourages me to want to read it. I'm just like, let's go. It's a bit like my friend the other day was telling me about the Northern Lights and the Philip Pullman and how and then the newer books are like really advanced, quite graphic stuff that shouldn't be in the children's section. And I was like, I need to read them now. Now you've told me that, I need to read it. Blue Eye Devil, congratulations. Thank you so much. Pollyann, thank you for the congratulations and thank you for watching my channel. Big loves, big hugs to Brazil as well back. Katerina says that gin and tonic sounds very tempting. Still work to do though. I know, it's a bit early for me to be, if I were to drink, I'd have a whiskey, I think. But I haven't drunk in quite a while now. I think Italy was the last time I had something to drink. Marcus says, it's Ukrainian vodka, a present from our guest family. The mum is a high school teacher for English who practices her pronunciation with your channel. No, don't. Tell her no. No, you don't want to follow my pronunciation. Tell her no. Literally, if you want to have the most hated accent known to man, don't follow my pronunciation. It's literally the worst. You'll get lots of hate. Tell her no. Tom, hi Chinzia, hi Tom. I discovered your channel this year. Loved your videos. Thank you, lovely to meet you. Hope you're having a nice weekend. I've done nothing this Saturday. I slept in, which was cheeky of me. I normally try and always get up at 6, but I got up at 9. I was up all night though, quite unwell, and so I let myself sleep until 9, and I've literally watched games all day, just games. I've just watched game playthroughs. I'm so lazy. I had so much work to do. Pollyann, Edinburgh Gin is the best. Yes, you agree with me, Pollyann. Jenny, you're an original. It's a pleasure listening to you. That's really kind of you to say. Thank you, Jenny. I really appreciate that. Pieces of Zian. Hey, Chinzia, lovely to see you too. Amazing that you reached 100k. Thank you. 12 years. I don't think anyone has taken that long to reach 100k. I think I should have a special plaque for like perseverance, because I think that's the longest time anyone's taken to get to 100k. Andrea, I've been watching you since your first no-buy video. So that's 4 years ago now. Think about you a lot when I'm deciding the little things to buy and I don't need. Fantastic, I'm so glad. It's so funny how that's kind of become, I've got to a point in my life now where I'd say it's just natural. Like, it's not something that, you know, I had to order some PhD books recently because I've used the library for a couple of them, but one of them is just too dense. I need to take notes on it, and I can't. The library in National won't let you take the books away. You have to use them in the library. And I was like, I need this book because I'm not going over French feminism theory by chance in the library. I need the books. And that was just really nice to be able to like know that that was my limit. And then everything else, I just don't bother. It's so interesting how it changes your mindset. Elysium says, if we're talking about awful books we hate, Lord of the Flies is just about the worst book I've ever read. Never read it. My worst book that I've ever read is actually Kazuo Ishiguro's The Unconsoled. Oh my god, I couldn't stand it. I don't know why I bothered. It's like a chunk of a book, and I really bloody hated it. Jaina, I can only recommend Philip Pullman. It's fantastic, and whiskey, always whiskey in hand. See, It sounds really dark though. Like I read the first one, I didn't really like it, but maybe I just wasn't really in the mood for it. I was like, meh, I don't really care. But then she was going about all the dark stuff and how like really obscene it's getting now. And I was like, okay, now I'm curious. She's hoping to do a podcast on the Philip Pullman series. So when my friends do create that, I'll let people know about it in case anyone's interested. Oh, no, it jumped. No. Magna says, Philip Pullman, I'm 30 in a few months. I still can't put down young adult teen fiction. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. When I was, there's actually a lot of my friends who only read YA and they're in their 30s, mid-30s. There's nothing, it's not my cup of tea, but there's nothing wrong with it. Don't let anyone shame you with it. Hermie says, oh, as a final addendum, this is actually my name. No! Stop it. Your name is actually Hermes. That's amazing. That's incredible. Your parents have good taste. Simeo sounds like a wonderful Saturday. I'm very proud. Thank you. I just watched Julian's latest upload, Julia Solomita, and I'm currently watching PewDiePie from a few years ago. I like horror games the most. I love horror games. So I'm going through a binge of like watching horror games at the moment. Dorota says, congratulations. Thank you so much. I've been your subscriber since 2012. But sending love back to Poland. Thank you for being subscribed for that long. That's so intense. Thank you. And hello, Holy Freak. Greetings from Argentina. And thank you for the congratulations. The Achilles the cat says hi. Hi, Achilles the cat. My little baby's left me. She's wandered off to the bedroom to lie down. Yeah, I think she's just a bit hot and it's making her a bit unwell, bless her. And Lil, hello Lil, love to see you. And Lumi, hello Lumi. Chasen, congratulations, discovered this channel this year. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Chasen, lovely to meet you. Hermes says, oh well, I could make you perseverance plaque. Just make me one to put on the wall underneath the next plaque. Just like, perseverance, you tried. Well done, you tried. Eric, hello. Thank you for congratulations. I really appreciate it. Oh, Freya says, it's not the quantity of subscribers rather than the quality. Definitely. It feels like you've been here longer, Freya. Like, I feel like because I've just always seen you. I'm just like, I'm so used to Freya. It feels like ages. Oh, bless you. Thank you, Zian. Holy Freak first. Have you ever read Borges? Yes, I have read Borges. His collection's actually this one. These ones at the corner. And I've read his Labyrinths and fictions, but I haven't read his Imaginary Beings yet, and that's on my list, but I do really like Borges. Pieces of Zian, I should say Zian, sorry Zian. Oh, don't worry about the time to reach 100k. You have a special niche and you're not superficial. That's really kind of you to say, thank you. It's super enriching to watch your videos and you inspire. Oh, thank you, I'm so glad. That's really lovely to hear, thank you. See, Hermes says, they're 50 and there are great books in the YA genre. Never listen to it all. And Small Decision says, I did my master's thesis on YA. Exactly. I know people who are doing their PhD in YA. There's no limit. Heidi, thank you for the congratulations. And Bia, thank you for the congratulations. And also Ras Silverstorm. I hope I said that correctly. Thank you as well. Lil asks also if we are chatting about how long we've been watching you. I started watching you, about to say, you've been watching me a long time, Lil. Like, spiffing books. Like, yeah. I was like, I swear, you've basically before university started, like my gap year, we've been like around together for a long time, Lil. I was like, that's like the longest. Magna says, watch out for Pew's get to the bridge. When Pew's gets, oh no, really? Oh no, I'm scared. To be fair, I just laugh. I'm really good at playing horror games because I just power through. People find me very funny apparently when I play horror games. The last time I ever played a horror game though, I don't own any consoles, but some friends of mine who I used to work with, they did a Halloween party where everyone downstairs was watching whoever was upstairs playing. So you went into a dark red room by yourself and you had to play a random game. And there was like downstairs in the living room, it was hacked by like an anonymous, and the screen fuzzled and it was like, Cinzia, it is time for you to go and play your game. Your game is blah blah. I can't remember what game I played. And you go upstairs and everyone downstairs is watching you stream your game, but you're alone with just like, and they had a switchboard downstairs to try and make you afraid. And I was the only one that was just totally unfazed because I can't play games to save my life. So I'm just like walking into walls, and instead of opening doors, my character's jumping, and I'm just getting really annoyed at the character. Even though it's me controlling it, I'm just like, stop jumping for God's sake. It's ridiculous. I'm so bad at games. Ooh, Elysium says, if you haven't played them and you like horror games, highly recommend the Fatal Fame games. Fatal Fame. Must remember. Let me just pop this in like a note. Like, whenever people give me recommendations on chat, I literally just copy and paste them into my notes to look into it. Thank you for the recommendation. Russ Silverstorm says, I only just found you about a month ago, but I'm catching up on vids. I hope you enjoy them. You'll see me age in reverse. It's really funny. Like, Paula says, congratulations. Thank you. And for the dab. I've never seen that emoji before, the little dab. Hermie says, horror games, I get nervous with those, but I've just finished reading all of Lovecraft's works, and oh boy, what a treat. You know what? I don't think I've ever read Lovecraft. One of those that I'm not sure if it's overhyped, or I've never read a horror book that's actually affected me. And it's always disappointed me, so I think I've always just been like, they never affect me. I want something to scare me. Or at least games do. I don't like the films, I love the games, because they're more interactive. But I've always loved horror games since I was a little girl. And they're the ones I used to play when I was like 9 years old. And that's why I am the way I am today. Emma says, congrats on 100k. Hi from Paris. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Emma. I'm so jealous. I would love to go back to Paris. I went when I was 11 on a French exchange, and that's all I've ever done. Tom, are you studying any languages at the moment? I'd love to hear you talk about Greek and Latin one day if you're interested in that. I'm not studying any languages, and I've never learned Greek, and I used to learn Latin, but I haven't touched Latin in years. I was learning French last year, but then workloads got in the way. So no, my top languages I would love to be able to actually speak are Punjab, French, and Arabic. I think they'd be the most interesting to learn, and they're always, I suppose, because again, I grew up with a lot of my friends being, you know, like from, a lot of them spoke Punjab and a lot of them spoke Arabic, and I always wanted to know, like, I just wanted to join it in the conversations growing up. So they're still the two highest, and French, because I know some French. So I was trying to think, like, do I know French really? I know some French. I was able to speak French in Italy when I was trying to look for directions, and the people I was speaking to were French. I was like, oh my God, okay. But I'm not learning any at the moment. I'm a little bit deep in work for YouTube videos and then also my PhD studies. So, the chat's going. Thank you all for the questions. I'm getting through them as I promise I don't want to meet anyone. Not meet everyone, miss anyone. And look, Katerina says, small decisions. I found your channel through Cinzia's. Everyone's connecting. I love it. Jeanette says, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you so much for your support. I'm glad you enjoy it. Gabriel also says, congratulations. I'm a recent subscriber. And I'm so disappointed I did not find your channel sooner. There's no need. There's no worries. You're an awesome personality. And it's nice to meet a fellow classical enthusiast. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Tristan, Les Belles Lettres. Oh my God. That's such a flashback. For anyone who's new here, Les Belles Lettres was my series of like book reviews. JG, are you a single mother? I'm a single mother to a dog. Gabriel, I just graduated from my MA program with a degree in history specialising in the age of antiquity. Congratulations on finishing your master's program. That's really awesome. Samir, and also, yeah, Samir is such a great, oh, lovely. Magna says, Cinzia gaming soon. Half-Life, oh no, it jumped. Sorry, it just jumped. I was reading it. Half-Life, System Shock, and Pathologic. Ooh, taking note of pathologic. I've never heard of that one. Thank you. Pop that on my little wee list. No, I don't have the funky setup to do streaming. All the games, all the consoles, but it'd be funny if people would just laugh. They'd laugh. I'd be so bad at gaming, but I just get really intense in it. Oh, hello. Eliscum said, I recently read Nothing But Blackened Teeth, and I really liked the concept, but the prose was so purple. I couldn't go over the weird metaphors. Now I need to look it up. I love this. See, I normally love really beautiful writing, but I do get a sense sometimes when there's a really purpley prose, it's just purple for the sake of it, and I'm like, you're trying too hard. Have you read The House of Leaves? I haven't, Naya. I've got it, and it's one of those books that I keep putting off because I'm always scared that I won't like it after I realise it, if that makes sense. Like, I'm excited for something and I put it off in case I'm disappointed. That's the word. Arthur says, how to be a very positive self. What do you mean? Are you asking me how to be positive about oneself? Or how to be a very positive self? Sorry for being dopey there. And is it just about like how to be positive about oneself? Sorry, please ask that again, Arthur. I don't want to miss your question. But I don't want to give like a stupid answer about how to be positive about oneself if you're just like, no, it's the name of a game, you stupid girl. Like something like that. Is that a game? Is that a name of a book or a game? Please let me know. Mark. Oh, Ines, thank you. Just seen your congratulations. Thank you. American Psycho is a scary read, but does it qualify as horror? Maybe thriller? Maybe it's no. Yeah, maybe American Psycho is horror, but like in a more psycho horror way. I think there would be a genre of psycho horror. Ra says, my favourite horror game is actually a board game, Betrayal, in House on the Hill. Never even heard of that. I have to look into that. Lumi says, I'm a huge horror fan, so when I read The Call of Cthulhu, I was a bit disappointed, to be honest. See, that's what I feel! Didn't find it scary, atmospheric, or even mysterious. See, that's what I'm always scared Lovecraft will make happen to me. I'll be like, nah. Like, it'd be scary in a world before social media and stuff, but because I've become immune to so much stuff. Nay says, I have it at the top of my TBR, my non-uni TBR. It's supposed to be really scary. Right. We'll have to read it together, Naya. You and I have to read The House of Leaves together. Futile Unicorn, hello from Suffolk. I found your channel through an insane TikTok roamed and exist video. Oh no, really? How funny. Lovely to meet you. Ellie says, really pleased to catch you live. Oh, lovely to see you, Ellie. I absolutely love your videos and you seem like such an amazing person. You're really kind. Thank you. That's really kind of you to say. I always get scared with those kind of labels that I can't live up to that. If you want to be traumatized, watch Hereditary. It took me 6 months to be able to watch a horror movie. See, I'm not a fan of horror movies, Freya. I'm not a fan of horror movies because they do get into my head. Sameo, only book that ever scared me was Salem's Lot. Can't really explain it concisely, but unnerved me. I've never heard of Salem's Lot. I will add that to my list as well. Sorry, I'm really behind the chat. I just want to make sure I talk to everyone and get everyone's comments in. I've written some horror RPGs, says Naya, which is so much fun. What? That sounds amazing. Oh my god. Holy freaks. Thank you so much. That's really kind of you. Bloody hell. Thank you. There's a short history on Borges called The House of Asterion. Why do I know that? Why do I know that? That's really kind of you, Holy Freaks. Thank you. It's only 5 pages long and he engages on a myth and not as something sacred, but rather as a personal way. Drives me to... Thank you. I will have to... Thank you for the donation, but also for the recommendation for House of Asterion. Why have I heard of that? Someone recently mentioned that. Oh, sorry, Arthur, for speaking too quickly. I'm sorry. My ADHD, I'm really fast at speaking. I'll try and go slower. I was getting a bit scared I was falling behind, but thank you for pointing it out. MB says, have you ever played Animal Crossing? You might like it since you build a museum and donate artifacts. That's cute. Oh, that's cute. You can decorate your own island antiquity style. It's very relaxing. See, I played Animal Crossing when it first came out and I didn't like it. Primarily because I was used to Harvest Moon. I'm more of a Harvest Moon girl than that kind of thing. I like the dynamics of more the relationships in Harvest Moon. And apparently I would like, is it Stardew Valley? Everyone says I would like that one. But the first ever game of Animal Crossing, I didn't get the fuss, but that sounds cute. I know a lot of people have like made libraries on there and things like that. Everyone's talking about The Haunting of Hill House, Lumi. I agree. The Haunting of Hill House, bloody loved that. Is that the Netflix one you're talking about? Whoo, that was a good take on that book, seriously. Michael says hello to everyone. Hello, Michael. Elysium says The House of Leaves is a commitment. Yeah, it's a big book, isn't it? It's like it's not the kind of book I found easy to put down and come back to. I normally have several books going at once. Houses, yeah, I'm the same, Elysium. That's how I read. I haven't touched a book in like a month. The one that I read in Italy, which is down here, it's been, come back. This one, I haven't touched this since I came back from Italy. It's gathered dust since then, literally. Cat's leave. This is the books of Jacob, and I'm only there. And I'm the same. I read multiple books at the same time, and a big book suffers for that. Gabriel says, you should read or check out the Clash of Eagles trilogy by Alan Small. It's an alternative fiction story where it imagines a Rome that never collapsed. What? I have never heard of this before. Thank you. Oh, look at that. That's so funny. I've never heard of that before. Yes, Naya. House of Leaves Miniature Book Club. I can do that very easily over on Patreon. Emma says, come back to Paris. I'll guide you and you'll practice your French. Do you like gothic horror? I do like gothic horror, Emma. I would love to come back to Paris. I'd want to bring my dog, though, which is funny. I could take the train and bring her. I don't know anyone in Paris. Because again, I was 11 and it's a school exchange. So I stayed there for just a week with a family who were lovely. Like, I don't use social media anymore, but I'm still following my French exchange partner all these years later on Instagram on my private account. So that's we were 11? Do the maths. 19 years ago. We've been in touch for 19 years, which is fascinating. And I can barely speak French, but I can understand it, which is weird. Like, I can get what they say, and I can read it reasonably well. I can figure it out, but I can't on the spot figure out the grammar, and that throws me. So I'm very reluctant to speak French. Or Joseph Clark just did clap, clap, clap. Andres says, do you have ADHD? I never learned to deal with it. I do have ADHD. So how I'm dealing with it at the moment is I'm on a waiting list for treatment, but I completely changed how I approach everything at the moment. I'm working out, because when I realised it was ADHD, a lot of stuff made sense. So for example, I researched into, so I clearly suffered from depression and anxiety as well. And they couldn't give me ADHD medicine because I have to be on a waiting list for ages. So I was a bit cheeky and I started doing some research from some peer-reviewed papers into basically case studies into what antidepressants did or did not affect ADHD, which ones either exacerbated ADHD and which ones had the lowest effect on ADHD or actually improved elements of ADHD despite them being an antidepressant. And there were two that I identified. I asked about one of them. There was one that I really wanted, and in the UK they don't actually give that to people unless you're a smoker, which I was like, okay. And I was like, fine, can I try this antidepressant please? And I have found that my research paid off, because since taking this other antidepressant, it has completely helped my ADHD in so much, it's insane. And I was like, I knew it. I knew if I tried to cheat the system by reading peer-reviewed papers about studies on ADHD and antidepressants relationships. So that really helped me. And then I kind of live quite a rigid lifestyle where I have a routine. I wonder if I can show people. whoops, dropped my thing. So this is kind of like how I schedule my days, and I keep it to like these time slots. And I set alarms all the time. I use a timer when I'm working as well, to ensure that I actually get the work done. So again, I found as my ADHD brain didn't do well with numbers, but it did really well with a timer like this. It was a visual timer where I could see the colour go down, rather than working at numbers. Little things like that have really helped me, but everyone's different with their ADHD. But I've just been really experimenting, learning that I work better if I wake up at 6 o'clock, even if I've had very little sleep, get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go straight to the gym, like immediately go to the gym, exercise for at least half an hour to 45 minutes, mainly weight training, and do that every day that I'm working on a day, and I function much better. I've had to remove some things from my diet that I'm doing gradually, because I've noticed some things do exacerbate my ADHD, which is really fascinating. It's all about learning and testing what works, what doesn't work for you. And it does take a lot of commitment. Like, it's like weirdly training yourself. But since finding out, since finding out I've had ADHD, it's helped me then go, oh, I can try this and try that. And it's really improved. Sorry, I really fallen behind on the chat. My apologies. I went on a little random then. So Magna said, my housemate is also a Harvest Moon girl. Maybe it's a book girl thing. I don't know. I just really liked flirting with lots of women on the game and then breaking their hearts. And they're saying, I will love Stardew Valley. Everyone says that. Holy Freaks asked, what about science fiction? What are your favourites of the genre? Not a science fiction fan. The best one I've ever read was Becky Chambers' A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. Really enjoyed that, but I would say it's more space opera than it is sci-fi. The sci-fis that I read have been a bit too intense. I have yet to read Dune. It's my cousin's favourite book, and I promised her I would read it, and she got me a really nice edition, which is behind my computer screen. I know it is. And it's really pretty, and I just keep putting it off. Sci-fi really gets me. And yes, Lumi, I got it right. It was the Netflix series of Haunting of Hill House. It was great. I really loved that. That's probably my favourite show I've seen in a very long time. Oh, Gabriel says, congrats from Belgium with 100k. Thank you so much. And Nick asks, I really enjoyed the Wind-Up Bird Chronicles and the Hard-Boiled Wonderland. Not horror, but very immersive once your head gets in sync with them. I will have to read that. I haven't read any Haruki Murakami, I don't think, since 2015, 2016. It's been a long time. Tom says, speaking of thrillers, have you ever read The Talented Mr. Ripley? It's set in Italy in the 1950s and features very glamorous murders. I've got it down here. I've got it down there, My Talented Mr. Ripley. I haven't read it, though. I wonder. You know when there's just so many that you want to read? I say, this is going to sound so sad, I'm sorry, but I was talking to my dog today, because that's how I try and handle things in my head. I talk out loud to my dog, and I was going, I'm really overwhelmed. I have a lot that I want to read, and I can't pick what to read next. And it's one of those things I'm like, I need to read The Talented Mr. Ripley now as well. Have you read The First Man in Rome by McCullough? No, am I familiar with this one, The First Man in Rome? I have to always look at... I'm better with book covers than I am with titles sometimes, which worked really well when I was a bookseller, because I'd be like, yes, I've seen that cover before. No, I've never read. That's a big book. That's over 1,300 pages. That's a big book. Wow, I've never even... I know the front cover. If it's great, I'll pop that on my list. Thank you. I'm just copying and pasting it into my list. Thank you. Edma says, well done on the numbers. I hope you have something just as affirming in real life and enjoy your voice. Thank you. It's unusual that someone gives me a run for my money in the voice stakes. Oh, really? I hate my voice. I was literally saying on my other channel when I was streaming the other day, I was literally thinking of going to elocution lessons to change my voice, because I'm doing a podcast, and when I'm editing myself, I sound just such like a snotty brat. And I'm like, even, like, no wonder people don't like me when they meet me. If they hear that, they're just going to assume it. Because even I'm listening to myself going, you sound like such a snotty brat. What you're saying is great. Like, what I'm saying is great. But I just have this horrible tone that's so unappealing. I'm just like, for God's sake. With Love Felly says, just made my dinner and now I'm watching this. I'm looking forward to dinner tonight. I've started making a new salad. I don't normally have salads because it's too cold in Scotland, but it's finally hot enough to justify having a salad. I say that. It's still a hot salad, but I'm looking forward to mine tonight. Michelle says, my husband is reading the Book of Jacob. And he's enjoying it. He read Drive Your Plough Over Your Bones of the Dead, fell in love. That's exactly why I'm reading it, Michelle. I loved that book, Drive Your Plough Over the Bones of the Dead. I really enjoyed that. But she also wrote another one, didn't she, that I read, and I loved that one even more. Is it The Doll's House? Is it The Doll? Let me just double check before I recommend something. No, it's Flights. She's Flights. Loved Flights. Loved Flights so freaking much. If he hasn't read that, your husband, highly recommend that as well. Yeah, I really freaking love Flights. So I've become a fan of her, but this is very different from what I'm used to of her. So it's very, very set in the culture, and I'm not familiar with that part of history, so I'm having to get around that part. Tom says, there's a train from Scotland to France. Wow, I'm jealous of Europe now. I mean, it's not direct. From Scotland, you'd have to go to London Euston, and then from London, you'd have to get the Eurostar to France. But there is a direct train from London to Paris, which is where most people go. And it's a really quick train. I think it's like an hour. It's insane. But to get to London, I have to take a 6.5 hour train, which is a bit of a faff. Oh no, it jumped, sorry. Oh my goodness, there's been so many comments. I'm so sorry, people, I'm going so slow. Counterclause, I also found your channel through your video on TikTok and Ancient Rome. No way, that's so funny. Have you heard of a Minecraft map called Uncensored Library that allows people to access books banned around the world? No? That's fascinating, I've never heard of that. Minecraft map. And so that's great, I love that. Oh, Saskia, hello, you just joined. You're probably like, Chinze, I wrote that comment like half an hour ago. You're getting so slow. Gavbin says, speaking quickly is actually a sign of great intellect sometimes. I don't think so. I've always spoken stupidly fast. And it's the only sign that I clearly had ADHD, because that's clearly how my hyperactivity manifests itself. And it's so funny because everything in my life is very fast. I walk very fast. I'm an incredible sprinter. I was always put on all the teams for races because I am stupidly fast. It's quite, I didn't realise I was that fast until I started racing people. I was like, I'm a really good sprinter. And I have to listen to everything fast as well. Like I watch movies and TV at 2 times the speed. Everything works really fast. I think it's just, again, ADHD, hyperactivity. Elysium says, I've tried several dark academia books. I feel like it's a genre I should like. I like the idea of it, but none of the books do it for me. So you're a quarter of the way into the ninth house for a month. It doesn't really appeal to me, the ninth house. I've seen a bit. I mean, have you obviously read the original, The Secret History by Donna Tartt? Because that's where you should start. I read that back in 2014 and I didn't put that book down. I loved it. And that's before dark academia was a thing. I was like, damn, this is a book. Oh no, it's still hot. No, it says, that's so smart, the academic mind. It says, is that a bust of Virgil or Machiavelli on your table? Neither, it's Caesar. It's Caesar being stabbed in the back. It's a pen holder. And I have a little Athena as well. And people ask me where they're from. I'm afraid both were 3D printed by my ex for me. I asked him to. So I'm afraid I didn't buy them. They are 3D printed things. Make sure I don't... I started watching your videos, says Gav Ben, about 3 years ago and contributed towards me deciding to do a PhD. Excellent! Congratulations! I'm so happy for you. Katerina says the timer and study time really helped me. I'm so glad. I've rewatched some of them during the previous nights so I could concentrate. I'm so glad. I'm going to edit them slightly, Katerina, to have timestamps to make it easier for people. I just haven't had time, but I will be doing that soon. So hopefully they'll be more accessible to people. Freya says that I've also had ADHD since starting my meds. I got so much better, and I even started my second degree on MPhys in astrophysics. Congratulations, Freya, that's amazing. John's saying that June is a good book. I should get to it. Hold on. I'm nosing in on conversations. Naya says they wrote their BA thesis on elements of the sublime. A wonderful novel. Excellent. I'm glad. Really good advice about ADHD. Thank you. There are many benefits to being neurodiverse, so I focus on those. Been a subscriber since the Freely the Banana Girl days. Oh my god. Oh my god. Just so anyone knows, I was never a supporter of Freely the Banana Girl. I was someone who was very critical as a vegan of Freely the Banana Girl. Before anyone's like, she was one of those. I was never one of those. Feli says, more sci-fi tips. A psalm for the wild build. Chambers, also, I haven't heard of that one by Becky Chambers. Thank you. I will pop that on my list. My list is getting very long. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Eric Downing, show feet. No. Dorota, have you ever read anything about the Slavic beliefs? I'm obsessed with Slavic anything right now, and I'm sad that my culture is basically ignored and forgotten. I don't think I have. I say that. I don't think I have. Let me have a nosy. Are there any that you'd recommend? Let me just double check. I'm going on my Goodreads to see if there's anything that from a while ago. I mean, I have a few folk tale books, but are there particular ones about Slavic mythology that you would recommend? Or, wait, The Bear and the Nightingale, is that, she's British though, isn't she, the author of that, so I don't want to say that book, because obviously she's been inspired by, oh no, she's American, because I know that's based on like Slavic mythology, but obviously it's not by a native writer, so that's why I'm like, I don't want to suggest it in case it's not. And yeah, again, I've read a lot of Americans write about Slavic history, but if there's any that you would recommend, please say, because I have Slavic mythology kind of anthology, but I haven't read it from cover to cover, so I can't say I've read the whole thing. Michael says, don't you find that your mug is in the way? This thing? I don't normally keep it here unless if I'm working, it's not here. It's only here because I'm chatting to you guys. I wouldn't keep it here. I'd be too scared. Hence why there's always a lid. Whenever I'm near a keyboard, there's a lid on my drinks. I don't have open cups near here. Have you done the full version of The Count of Monte Cristo? I have, Edmund. I have read the full edition of The Count of Monte Cristo. I really enjoyed it. I want to read, however, what's his face? It's gone in my head. Hold on, I'll get there. Cervantes. You know what I'm saying. It's gone in my head. You all know, you're all screaming it at me. But I really enjoyed The Count of Monte Cristo, and I read the full edition. Because I had a copy of it, and I wasn't happy with the translation, so I went and bought a different one. This is a couple of years ago now, and I really liked it. Simeo says, I really like June, but from what I've heard, people tend to love it or hate it. is your cover the one with someone with very blue eyes and a blue planet behind it? That's one of my favourites. It's not. I can show you what my cover of June is. I'll get it. Hold on. There's a plant balancing on it, so I have to be really careful. Don't fall. Good books. This is my cover of June. Isn't this pretty? It's all beautiful and like, and the back as well. So that's the one I've got. I need to put it back because the plant will fall. I balance all my plants on my bookcases, so oh, Holy Freak says you'll love June. I recommend you Ray Bradbury's I read Fahrenheit 451. I read that back when I was an undergraduate. I really enjoyed that. I would is it classified as a sci-fi, Fahrenheit 451? I suppose I always just labelled it as dystopian, but I never classified it as sci-fi. Feely asks, if you don't know what to read, sometimes I'll ask random people if they want to pick a book. So Feely, do you want to know something sad? I ask my dog to pick my books for me. I put 2 in front of her and I go, which one? And she like goes up to one. I'm like, thank you. I've done it in public as well when I'm buying books for people for Christmas. I'll line them up on the shop floor and I'm like, pick one, and she goes up to it. People find it really funny. Oh, Zayn says, thank you for sharing your ADHD experiences and how you manage your days. I think I might have it too, waiting for diagnosis. I really don't know how to live with it. I'm also lucky to suffer from depression, anxiety, etc. So it's difficult to pinpoint what's going on. I will try things that you shared, like the visual timer. It really sounds like it might help. Yes, little things like that. Just learning about, like, again, I watched a load of YouTubers and stuff, and I didn't take their advice in the sense that I just gathered what elements of their lives that they edited and changed. So another thing that again, everyone's ADHD is different, but one of my things is that I hate taking showers when I have to like do everything. Like we're talking like hair, shaving, everything. And I think, again, I didn't realise how much why I hated it so much. And I think it's because of the monotony and nothing to distract me. So I invested in like just a little cheap Bluetooth speaker that goes in the shower. And I listen to like a podcast whilst I'm in the shower. Now I like showering because I get to listen to my podcast on my audiobook. I didn't realise that was a thing, that you just need to, it's all about like distractions and working with your brain. Everyone's going crazy for June. Jenny says listen to June, it's an experience. That should be a point actually. Lorraine says your tone is not unappealing. It is to me. Oh, bless you. The Big D says your voice is so cute. I could listen to it all day. You really wouldn't want to, Big D. People just see, that's how slow I am on the chat. I'm just reacting to people saying I hate my voice. Yes, I would also recommend How to ADHD. I watched all of her videos. And Tom's, I've been feeling a bit overwhelmed too about the books I want to read because I'm so busy with uni, but we shouldn't put pressure on ourselves. Exactly. Naya says the bookstore I work at has as its niche to place all books with the covers visible to make it feel more inviting and accessible. Interesting. Have I read Iceberg Slims? Asked Gary. No, I've never even heard of that one. I've never even heard of it. Have to look that one up. And John says ahoy all, and I say ahoy back, John. I'm really behind on the chat. I'm really sorry. Thank you, Naya. Fellow bookseller to fellow bookseller, finding the books by its cover is so much easier. Because you learn the cover. Because it's just, again, when a customer asks for it, you know what the cover looks like more than the words. It's so much easier. Oh, John says, I also find your video via TikTok Rome wasn't real video. I didn't realise I was being put on TikTok. That's hilarious that someone's put me on TikTok. I don't like TikTok. I really didn't like it. That was the easiest social media for me to give up. I was like, I'm not missing TikTok. And thank you, Nate Dogs. Congrats on 100k. Oh, bless you. Bea says, I've been watching you for 5 months since Homer was a woman. I love your channel. It's super great. Thank you. And Gav Ben's just explaining that First Man in Rome is the best fictional book I've ever read on ancient Rome. You will love it. It is as long, but God, it's worth it. I don't know how it feels to be a writer, but like the writer was there. Maybe they were. Maybe they were a time traveller. Loomis is just reacting, the Free the Banana Girl. Yeah, no. I wasn't pro Free the Banana Girl. Let's just stress that again. Lil says, I didn't realise how much your life studies with me helped me until yesterday when I just had no motivation at all to study. Oh, but never struggle with motivation whilst watching your lives. I'm so glad. I find it really helpful for me as well to have other people there. I just don't feel alone. Like it's again, introvert, doesn't have like any social life. Having people there makes me feel like, okay, yeah, you're doing something with here. Don Quixote, thank you. I've just finally got to that point where I was like, what's the Cervantes book I want to read? And everyone's like, Don Quixote. I'm like, thank you. Oh, Christopher says, I listened to your podcast this morning. I'm not an academic, but still think that what you had to say was really poignant. I left corporate life to pursue art and the message remains the same. I'm so glad you thought that, Christopher. Thank you. I'm really, really glad you felt that way. Obviously you get scared that you're excluding people by mentioning PhD. But I want people to know that it's accessible. It's going to be more of like, obviously, a lifestyle kind of mental health stuff, but it is about organisation and stuff over there. Naya's also had her dog approve the books and approve what you spend time on. It's all our starting our dogs do it. Nate says, my distraction is using Audible by Amazon. Listen to books on podcast. Yeah, no, I listen to a lot of audiobooks and like Audible. I never had Audible until this year. I blame my friend. She was like, have you ever had Audible? I was like, no. And then I did the trial and I was like, oh no, I'm addicted. Tez says, your voice sounds way older than you are. That it's like, obviously my voice has changed. Like when you go back through it's so sweet. I actually listened to one of my first ever videos. I'm so baby. My little baby face. I'm just like, hello, my name's Cinzia. But what's funny is, I sound higher pitched back then, but I've always had a lower voice compared to my peers. And I mean that because ever since the age of 10, I've been in acting, and I was always cast. I went to an all-girls school, and I was always cast as a man in the plays because my voice was the deepest out of all the girls. And it's just so funny that my voice just went progressively deeper as I got older. But when you look back 10 years, it sounds so much higher pitched than it is now. But I was always cast as the man because my voice was so deep. And yet, what was funny is I used to have knee-length hair as well. So I was the man with we had to always bun up my hair. We used to plait it and then bun it up. It would just look so silly. I played Orsino in Twelfth Night. I was Macbeth. I was Camillo in A Winter's Tale. I was just all the men. All of the time. Magna asks, since we're going around with different genres, do you have any interest in audio dramas? I fell in love with the Big Finish's Doctor Who plays in 2020. You know what? I've tried audio dramas, but I say that. I've only tried The Archers. I wasn't really into it. And if you're not British, The Archers is like a countryside show on BBC Radio 4, and it goes like do 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 do. Like it's really cutesy. I was like, oh. But I listened to And Then There Were None, an Agatha Christie audio drama, and that was really quite creepy. Listening to the audio drama And Then There Were None was really cool. And I suppose it's quite similar audio dramas to murder mysteries when you have the audio drama and each of you play a character. I love that. It keeps jumping down. Stop jumping down. Oh, Gav Ben saying they love June, but it's one of the hardest books that they've ever read. And I don't want to interrupt on people having a conversation with themselves, so I'm trying to make sure I don't. David says congratulations, thank you very much. Yes, Magna says, I think the Rome video got blessed with the algorithm. I used to get a variety of your videos in my feed, but the Rome one comes up in all sorts of places. It was blessed on the algorithm. I joke that the 1st of December has blessed me twice now, because I've done Vlogmas 3 years in a row, and the first ever Vlogmas I did was the first ever video of Vlogmas. That was my no buy year one, skyrocketed. The next Vlogmas failed, and I didn't get any traction. And then the third Vlogmas, again, my first ever video, was the Rome one, and again it skyrocketed. So I'm like, so I can only basically, I only earn my salary a year on YouTube on the 1st December. And that's it. I don't earn any more than that. That's my peak earning day, is the 1st of December. And you have to get it right, or else I just won't earn much. Oh, Gavin says Iceberg Slim is not easy reading. Look at the cover before you read it. I'm curious. Iceberg Slim. Ooh, he's dashing. I'm sorry. He's really handsome. Hello. I was just like, whew, he's dashing. I shouldn't objectify people like that, but I wasn't expecting him to look that cool. I was like, oh, hello. Nick says, I spend my day invoicing children's books by scanning them. I tend to recognise them from the back covers, yeah. Naya says, I also get people at work who want me to find that book with the book with the woman in the red, and maybe she's holding a briefcase like that. Surprisingly, like 10 different books equal the same, even in the quite small shop. It's worked several times though, Naya. So my favourite ever moment as a bookseller was in my last ever bookshop, and a customer came up to me and he looked at me and he went, I'm going to be one of those customers. I was like, go on then, what are you looking for? And he was like, I read a book recently and I want to buy it for my friend. And he went, it's got a blue cover. And I went, and I literally went over and got the book and came back, and he went, how the fuck did you figure that out? And I went, you just look like the type of man who would read this book. And it was, if you know it, I'm not sure if the book will be the same, actually, the cover over there, but it's the Prisoners of Geography. And he just looked like a man who would read that book, and he just said, like, it's got a blue cover, and I was like, I know it. And that's literally my proudest moment as a bookseller. So it does work sometimes. Though the worst request I ever had as a bookseller was a guy who said it was published in 1984. I was like, any more clues on that? And he genuinely said, it's got "the" in the title. I was like, that narrows it down. I was like, great, it was published in 1984 and it has "the" in the title. Thanks, really narrowed it down. Oh, Laminia, thank you for the $5. That's really gracious of you, thank you. Congratulations, I love your videos. Oh, thank you so much, I really appreciate that. Elysium says, it was my dream since I was 12 to get a PhD in history and archaeology. I went for art instead. I'm 33. Is it too late? No, it's not too late. Loads of people do their PhDs in like their 50s and stuff. It's not too late. If you haven't done any degrees though in history and archaeology, you'll have to go back to a BA level to get those. You can't jump from art to a PhD in archaeology and history. You'd have to have some qualification that you've done some kind of history. So you'll have to do an undergraduate again. But you can probably jump from, if you do really well in your undergraduate and you maybe potentially publish in that, or you do a bit more, you can potentially skip undergraduate and go straight to PhD. But it just requires a restart a bit. But it's never too late to start one. Michael says, dog please and thank you. She's on the bed at the moment and she's not very well, so I'm not going to disturb her. I will call her in. Sorry, I hiccuped. I keep hiccuping in my lives. I did it the other day. I had like a hiccup fit and I was like, I'm sorry. What are we talking about? What are we doing? Do people are talking to each other. I don't want to interrupt. I don't know about you, but having, Edmund's asking this, sorry. Having an unusual name often means very little affirmation in the media. As an Edmund, there are only few good role models. How many times have you found your name in a book? Once. Edmund. I have found my name in a book once, and ironically it's a fantasy book, and she's like a priestess, and I can't remember what the book was called. It's Oh, it's his name. I've got the initials RF in my head. I'm trying to think. Let me try and find it. I don't know. I've got RF in my head. I don't think that's right. I've got an R and an F. They're not initials. They're just letters that are sticking out of my head, and I've got a G. Let's see. Duskfall. There we go. There we go. I've literally just seen all the letters that I just saw. It's called Duskfall, and the Husberg. It's by Christopher Husberg. Duskfall, and it was sent to me by the publisher because the priestess in the book is called Cinzia, and that's the only time I've ever seen my name in a book. See, I knew it had the F. I was like, it's got the Duskfall. I've got a D and an F and an R. Oh, it jumped. Sorry, I was just about to read it. Music Foodie says, I love the Archers listening, Ed, to it while in Cuba for 3 weeks and really got into it. That's so cute. I can just imagine you going around Cuba going Oh, Fia, congratulations. So proud of you. Thank you so much, Fia. I really appreciate it. Holy Freak says, if you want really mind-blowing sci-fi, please read The Three Body Problem. Where is it? It's literally here. Dun, 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 dun. I've got the stupid arches in my head. It's literally, it's at the bottom of the pile. I'm not pulling that out. It'll pull all the... That was my ex's favourite sci-fi book, The Three Body Problem. It's just down there. He always kept saying I have to read it, and I'm terrible. When people tell me to read something, I do the opposite. People say I don't like that book, and I'm like, I want to read it now. And people say, you should read this book, and I'm like, I'm not going to read it now. I'm such a terrible person for that. Just tell me that you don't want me to read something. But that was his favourite book as well. Magnus says, funnily enough, going back to horror, there is a Doctor Who audio drama called Chimes at Midnight, which I would highly recommend. Christmassy Victorian sci-fi murder mystery. Well, I had to watch that. Well, I had to listen to that at Christmas. I can't do Christmas things outside the season, but I like horror at Christmas, like scary. I think it's the Christmas Carol effect. I want to be scared at Christmas. I want to be scared at Christmas. I want torture. So that sounds perfect. Gabrielle says, congratulations on 100k. Thank you. I subscribed years ago for the no-buy videos but stayed for everything else. Thank you. I love your content and love it now too. Oh, thank you, Gabrielle. I really appreciate it. Only one typing says, hello, great lady at the library. Thank you. Hello. Oh my god, I saw something on the ceiling then. It freaked me out. It keeps jumping. Sorry. Joy says, I'm late but happy I caught this stream. Thank you for the congratulations, Joy. I'm glad you're here. Feli says, as Feli, I've never found my name either. Felix, Felicia, Cinzia, Felicity, but no Feli. No, exactly the same. I never find Cinzias. What's funny is here's a funny story. So I've explained a couple of times that my mum didn't have a house for a decade, and there's a couple of times when she had to house share with flatmates. And there was like 6 in a house, and it was a couple of years ago now. And one of her flatmates was a woman, and the woman was on the phone to someone. And then my mum heard the woman, her flatmate, go like, okay, Cinzia, see you later, bye. And she put the phone down, and my mum was like, what were you doing talking to Cinzia? And her flatmate was like, what do you mean, what was I doing talking to Cinzia? And they genuinely thought they were talking about the same Cinzia, and it turned out that her flatmate's sister was also called Cinzia. And my mum's like, I've gone 30 years of my daughter's life. I've never heard anyone else called Cinzia. And it just really threw my mum off. She was like, what are you talking to Cinzia about? It was really funny. Oh, thank you, Gavben, saying congratulations. What I like about your videos is that it's clear you love what you're talking about. Thank you. Yeah, I always want to talk about stuff that I'm interested in, which is why I'm terrible with sponsored content, because I'm like, I don't want to talk about that. I'm going to talk about this really obscure thing instead, because this interests me more. Dorota got back to us. Slavic books recommended. Hold on, I'm copying and pasting this list. before I read it out to the chat. So, we all recommended Slavic books: Winter Night Trilogy by Kay Arden, The Forest Song by Lesia Ukranka, and When the Frost Comes by Marta Kraweska. No, I'm not going to try and say that. It's a must. I can think of more titles, but they're all in Polish. Thank you for that. If you want to go up to Dorota, there's a list there. So I've just copied and pasted that. Elysium says, I wonder if I could jump to art history from art. I just have so many student loans. You could, easily jump from... It's easier to jump your BA to your... You can change subjects from BA to MA. It's harder to jump from just BA to PhD. So you have to be like you could probably do a master's. You can try. You have to prove that you've been reading about stuff and keeping up with stuff. That's the only thing. But I was on, I did my undergraduate was in English literature and classics. And there was a girl in my English literature class, and then she went and did her master's in psychology. So you can jump. And again, I did my master's in English literature, and then I went on to do classics at my PhD. But the only reason I got to do my PhD in classics, despite doing an English literature master's, was because I did my undergraduate in classics. So you can do the manoeuvring. You just have to prove that you've been keeping up with the stuff that's going on. But you can easily do a art to art history. It would be hard to go from art to archaeology, potentially. That's the only thing. But it can be done. It genuinely can be done, but you have to prove that you're in the loop with what's happening. So I've got hiccups, people. See? I've got the hiccups. Oh, holy freaks. Your ex must be wondering where the hell is the book. It wasn't his copy. I bought a copy myself. No, my ex only ever had electric books. All the books are mine. That would have been hell if both of us had had books. That would have been really... Thankfully, he only liked digital books and audiobooks. So I think he actually listened to it on audiobook, not actually e-reader, and he really liked it. I didn't keep someone's book against their will. That would be really cruel. Ooh! Elysium says, I named my son Uta. Have I doomed him? It's a bit like Uhtred. It's not the same, obviously, but I know a character called Uhtred, and that's kind of what that name reminds me of. And that's the Bernard Cornwell series. Zeon says, have you always been an early bird, or has that changed? I feel like my house could burn down, and I'd be like, nah, that's not a reason to get up. So I haven't been an early bird for a couple of years. Again, it depends on my depression, but I would say yes. Like when I was an undergraduate, I would wake up at 5 a.m. every day, all the time. I'd be at the library by 7 in the morning without fail. I was way earlier, but that's back when I didn't have to work for a living and I was just working part-time as a bookseller or a waitress or something. Like I went through several jobs during my undergraduate, but I would always wake up at 5 a.m. really easily. And I used to have to leave the house for 5 o'clock in the morning to get to school as well for my sixth form. So it was more out of necessity, and I just got into the habit of waking up at 5 a.m. And then for the past couple of years, I had really bad depression, and I wasn't getting up at those times, and I was finding it really hard to get out of bed. And then my antidepressant that I was on before the one I'm on now was making me very sleepy, and it was making me pass out. We didn't realise it was the antidepressant. We went through all the blood tests, and after 9 months, I was like, wait, I've been doing some research. Again, I'm always the person that does the research. And I was like, I've been doing some research, and there's a chance that it's actually my antidepressant. Can I come off it? So that happened last year, and it's taken me a while, and it's only the past couple of months I've got back into waking up at 6 o'clock. I'd like to go back to 5 again, like I used to do, but it was safer to go. So when I was an undergraduate, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning was safer because I would ask my mum to come pick me up if I needed to go somewhere, because again, she was up at that time. So I'd have someone drive with me. Now, because I do everything on foot, I'm not very willing to go out by myself at 5 o'clock in the morning. Just be a bit dangerous. If I had a car, I'd be fine. I just drive places, but I'm a bit scared now. But when I went to Italy, I had to get up at 3 in the morning to leave at 4, and I found that fine. Like, it doesn't bother me. But I could easily be both. I could be both. It depends on my mental health. Michael says, oh no, sorry, only one typing said, I'd rather not dig into Carl's in literature. Michael Puckering says, that's interesting that you say that, talking about the house and your mum. My dad moved to the UK and it's taken him over a year to find a house, and he's finally found a home on that side. Yeah, different circumstances. So my mum, basically bankruptcy. So over a decade ago, we went into bankruptcy, and mum doesn't have any credit, and it's very hard to get on to even a renting when you don't have a home, because you can't have a bank account, you can't, you're in debt, so people aren't going, your credit score is down. So it took over a decade, and then it was just myself and my aunt had saved up enough money to help her get a deposit down, and my aunt did the deposit and I did the movers because her stuff was in storage, and then we finally found a place where they kind of didn't really check the credit. And then we got her into a place, but it took like a decade to find a place like that. So but it is really hard when you don't have a home, and there's nowhere to get addresses, and just debt and bankruptcy, people. It's horrible. But yeah, it took us a while. Skip down, sorry. Sophie says, my professor in culturology wrote a book of Slavic and Serbian mythology. His name is Sreten, oh my goodness, Petrovic. Sreten Trevovic. Can't say that. Let me look it up. Dyslexia is like, hi, you can't say that. God, I just remembered one of my English lecturers had a wonderful, beautiful Slavic name. Andres, I can't remember his surname. He was really cool. He taught me modernism and dystopian. I'm going to try and look this guy up for his book. Mythology. That's a funky cover. Oh, it's not in English. Oh, sorry. I've missed people. Oh, Barry says Utrecht makes me think of the Dutch city Utrecht. Yeah. It does sound a lot like that. I'd love to go to Utrecht. Edmund says Blade Runner or Do Andrew's Dream of Electric Sheep are sublime. As is June, the audiobook. Allegedly it cured my friends. I'm not familiar with that. Enuresis. What? What is that? Sorry, I'm not familiar with that word. Let me look it up. Oh! Never heard of it. What? It's very dry, I see. I was like, what is that? I have to look that up. Oh, thank you, Felly. Just subscribe to your Patreon. Thank you. We did a very long Patreon live stream yesterday. About like lots of things. It was like a 2-hour live stream. But it was very small of us. I think only 4 of us were there, but it was really nice. Never apologise for being off topic, Lil. Sorry to be off topic, but is there a study live with me tomorrow? If so, what time? Yes, there is. It is at 4 o'clock, 4 till 7 on Sunday. And then again on Monday, 12 till 3, and Wednesdays, 4 till 7. It's always 4 till 7 except for Mondays, which is 12 till 3. So yes, there will be one. Futile Unicorn says, who is your favourite character from Greek myths? I've always been drawn to Iphigenia. I mean, I've got a tattoo of 3 mythological people, so I suppose they should technically be my 3, shouldn't I? Obviously Athena, Pandora and Flora are on me. If we're not going for... Let me think. If I had... I mean, I always go for Athena. Like, Athena's everywhere in my home. Like, Athena artwork, everything. But if I'm going for, like, you're not so standard. And again, I love Medusa as well. And they just sound so cliche, but I fucking love Medusa. And I would love a Medusa tattoo. If I'm going for someone not so blatantly obvious... options are really obvious. I love Cersei as well. I have lots of Cersei around my house. They're all really standard, aren't they? They're all really standard, I'm afraid to say. I have basic bitch answers for everyone. It's like, oh, Cersei and Athena. And Medusa. But my tattoos are more... I mean, obviously I've got Athena tattoo, but I think Flora and Pandora are quite rare for tattoos. So I say I'm a basic bitch, I'm afraid, when it comes to ancient mythology. But if we're talking about like the less obvious ones, I would say Hecate. Fucking again, I feel like it's a basic bitch answer again. I'm just going for like all the basic bitches. Sorry, I've missed where I was. Oh, also off topic, do you use Twitter? I did, I've quit all my social medias though. I quit it a few weeks ago, so I'm not using Instagram, Twitter, or any TikTok. I didn't have Facebook anyway. I've quit all of them for at least another... I'm going to try and go for a whole year without any social media. That's the goal. And then see if I want to go back, but probably won't by that point. And I'm already reaping the benefits of not being on social media, so I can't see why I'd want to go back. Twitter's a cesspit. Last Sunflower says, hi, I love your videos, thank you. Since you're no-buy content, oh, thank you. I love your PhD content as well, thank you, because also doing PhD, though mine's in medieval studies, that's so cool. I love medieval studies, I know nothing about it, but I always think it's so cool. Mainly because of the artwork, I love medieval artwork. But I never studied, so I got hiccups, I just keep hiccuping, any medieval stuff. Nate Dogs, okay, that'll be tomorrow morning for me, great to know. Awesome, hopefully see you there. Only one typing, thank you for the congratulations. Symposium, have you ever studied Buddhism at all? I wouldn't say I've studied Buddhism. At school I was taught about Buddhism, and I went to see the Dalai Lama a few years ago in Manchester, and we're talking like when I was anorexic, so back in 2013, 2012, I saw the Dalai Lama. He's wonderful. And I went to a lot of Buddhist temples when I was anorexic, purely because I was just trying to find some kind of community. I was very ill. But the Buddhist little temples that I went to were too cold for me, and I was suffering so much as an anorexic and I couldn't attend. But a very close friend of mine's very Buddhist, and she takes it very seriously. So compared to her, no, I have not studied Buddhism. She does a Buddhist class every Sunday, has done for years. She goes on these retreats. She's really into it. I suppose because I have no spirituality, I feel a bit disingenuous when engaging with any kind of like religious concept. Even like things like Christmas and stuff makes me feel a little uncomfortable, purely because I feel a bit like I'm taking the pee out of something that deserves my respect. You know, I respect people's religious beliefs. Just because I don't believe in them doesn't mean I don't respect people's choices. So I don't want people for me to take things lightly that other people do. But I haven't ever sat down and studied Buddhist texts in any shape or form. What's your favourite male your Greek male character? Again, basic picture answer. I really like Odysseus. He's a wanker, but I do like how he gets through things. So many of them wankers. I'm trying to think of. Hades is the least wanker of all the gods, but you don't really get to know Hades via the myths. Odysseus, again, it seems like a basic bitch answer. I think who's going to specialise so much in the Odyssey in the past year. Achilles annoys me. Achilles drives me up the bloody wall. I hate Jason. You know what? Hector. He deserves so much more love. Poor Hector. My heart always bleeds for Hector. I think he's the sweetest guy. There's not a bad bone in that man's body. Tudor, thank you. Congrats on 100k. Thank you. Love your vids and streams. Feels perfect to have playing whilst writing an essay. I think I'm a bit distracting, Tudor. Unless you mean the study live stream. The study streams, I suppose, rather than me going like, hello, Tudor. Jeffrey, I found you inspiring. Oh, thank you. Your bravery and sincere discussion on mental illness has been life-changing. That's really touching of you to say. Thank you. Michelle says, I just watched your Patreon live stream today. Loved hearing about your experiences. Some things were so relatable to me. Oh God, I hate the fact that people find it relatable though, because that's such a dark topic, but I'm glad it helped. I knew it would help some people because narcissism is a big thing that people go through, and it's far more common than I think people give it credit for. Being subjected to narcissism, I should say. They're riddled everywhere. I've only met 2 in my life, but still that's too many. Fear. Sorry, I hiccuped again. I'm hiccuping. I can feel one coming up. Would you do a video on the benefits of a social media free existence? I will do in a year's time. I think I've done a 3-month one. So there is, I quit social media for 3 months. Sorry, I'm going to hiccup. Sorry. I'm like preparing everyone for hiccups. So when I've done a whole year, I think I'll feel better, feel like I can give more on the topic to discuss about not being on social media, because I'll have more, experience without it. Isabel says, congrats on 100k. Thank you, Isabel. I'm sorry if this has already been answered or you don't want to answer it, so ignore. But I'm curious as to which Scottish university you've been with. I'm going to UOA. Oh, University of St Andrews in September. I was at University of Edinburgh for my master's. I'm obviously not there for my PhD. But I did University of Edinburgh. And my friend did her degree at University of St Andrews. Is UOA Aberdeen or St Andrews? I've just realised it's Aberdeen or St Andrews. I've only ever met one person who's gone to Aberdeen University, so I can't say. St Andrews is lovely. It's very small, but it's very dedicated to the students. There's an incredible bookshop there. The toppings there is wonderful. It's very cold in both St Andrews and Aberdeen. It's colder in Aberdeen than St Andrews. It's quite expensive in St Andrews, but not as expensive as Edinburgh. The people there are very posh in St Andrews. And again, if you're going to St Andrews, then date someone, because the myth is that the people that date in St Andrews end up getting married. It's like a thing. Like people who meet in St Andrews will stay together in St Andrews. That's the law. I really like visiting St Andrews. I know a couple of people who did their PhDs there. If it's Aberdeen, I'm afraid I don't know anyone there. I dated a guy briefly who went to Aberdeen University. That's all I know from up there. I know people who have gone to Dundee and they love Dundee as well. I think you're on the good coast. I prefer the east coast to the west coast of Scotland purely for temperature, weather, climate. It's my favourite side. So I think you're going to be solid. Daryl says, I'm super late, but let the record state I was here. Hi, Daryl. Speaking of Odysseus, Nereus, have you read the Penelopiad? I fucking hate saying that word. Thoughts? Yes, I have read the Penelopiad. I'm currently actually about to reread it for my dissertation, my thesis. It's not something I'm actually working on in my PhD, but it's part of the lore of what I'm working on my PhD. It's a history of what I'm working on. Currently reading about the anxiety of female authorship in the Penelopiad at the moment. Literally the essay that I'm reading at the moment, by Jasmine Richards. I read it back in my undergraduate, in my 3rd year. I actually did my final year exam on the Penelopiad and James Joyce's Ulysses, and obviously the original Odyssey. I compared Penelope with modernism, postmodernism, and the original, and formations of Penelope. And I'm doing a lot about Penelope in my current PhD thesis. It's not my favourite. I don't get why people rave about it. I don't really like it. Again, though, it's very traditional kind of third wave feminism. Oh no, so second wave feminism, which is more about still pitting women against each other. So Helen's still a snotty bitch, But what Atwood did in terms of reception and how she moved the needle is significant, but it's not one of my favourite books. Like, it's not my favourite presentation of Penelope. I still think it has some quite toxic, old-fashioned feminist traits in it, like, oh, Helen is a slut kind of narrative, which I hate because I still think that's rooted in misogyny and patriarchy. But what she's done in terms of, subverting the androcentric narrative, and also confronting these patriarchal concepts of, if we go back to Harold Bloom, anxiety of influence, confronting the idea that women have this more increased degree of anxiety of influence. She kind of negates all of that and has this Penelope who subverts all expectations of the concept, because again, women in narratives, they're always seen as liars, and she kind of confronts this concept, well, Odysseus was a liar as well, we are both liars, and yet I'm the one that's not believed. And she actually confronts the patriarchal androcentric narrative of the canon with her Penelope, and that has been very significant in terms of all classical reception that occurred after that. But as a book in itself, it's not one of my favourites. That was a really long way to explain that, to come back. So Nicole, hello Nicole. Flying visit, but congrats Jinsei. Thank you, Nicole, I love you. It was like, what? My friend. Gecko, hello Gecko. Sorry I'm late. My car is at the mechanics. No. So I had to walk multiple miles to get to the groceries. No. I'm sorry, I hate that. I used to have to walk so far on my groceries, and I always buy the heaviest shit, and I'm like, why? Thank you for flying by, Nicole, I appreciate it. Give your wings a rest, Nicole. Michael says, I feel like Memnon is underrated. I wish he's given more limelight. Yeah, I would say actually he is a bit underrated as well. I would actually say, to be fair, I think Helen is underrated. Everyone says everyone writes about Helen. I was like, actually no one writes about Helen. Everyone bitches about Helen. No one has written about Helen from Helen's perspective. Everyone just slags her off. I'm like, to be fair, Helen has not had her time at all. Fia, the St. Andrew's marriage one is true. One of my friends did their PhD there, and he was married to his sweetheart. See, it's true. Everyone who dates in St. Andrews ends up with someone at St. Andrews. Hermes says, Chinsey, I have a question. Then ask. And not wanting to derail the conversation, I can gladly defer to... Hold on, to your discretion. But mythology-wise, what would your favourite character be? You mean out of all of mythology, who would my favourite character be? A unicorn. I was like, if I had to pick out of all of mythology, who'd be a unicorn? But again, if it's like all of mythology, I like any mythology. So now I have to like take in Celtic and Norse mythology as well. I'm just like, I'm gonna say the unicorn. We love a good To be fair, monsters are the best. Like, we love monsters. Monsters are great. I love all monsters in mythology across the world. Like, the Minotaur was my jam. When I was 12, I wrote so many effing stories about the Minotaur. And actually, it wasn't just 12, because in my A-level, I had to write a short story for my A-level exam. And I chose the Minotaur as my short story, and it got full marks. And I remember my teacher coming to me, and she said, "Are you a writer?" And I was like, "No, not really. I just did it." And she was like, "That was really good." And it was an allegory for, I mean, it was a bit dark. It was an allegory for a concentration camp in Nazi Germany. But that was my first ever real short story I ever wrote. I was really proud of it. So the Minotaur as well. I love the Minotaur. Saskia, would you be doing merch? So here's the thing. I want to make things, but I want to make things ethically and I wanted to design them myself. I have ideas for, so things that I want to sell, like things that I want to make. So I want to make some stuff myself. I would love to design some patterns as well to sell. I would like to make art to sell, and I would also like to make pins. But you need to have a lot of, basically I need to invest in stuff because I want to do it ethically. I kind of don't want to do it in like the casual way of just uploading it to another second party website. I would like to either employ local people or at least know where the resources are coming from and stuff like that. I don't want to do it like cheap and quick. So I want help basically with that. I actually am getting some business help from a charity here in the UK to help me try and identify how to do merchandising and product development from an ethical standpoint, which takes into consideration not only like wages of people and stuff like that, but also resources. So I'm starting that actually next week, and I'm going through a training course with that. So it won't be merch in your traditional sense, and it may be quite expensive to ship abroad because because you're not doing it through a third party thing. It'll probably be quite hard. Oh, hold on, my dog's making a noise. I just want to make sure she's okay. Hold on. Are you okay? Oh, you are? Oh, good. Okay, that's fine. I was just making sure you're okay. Sorry. She made a funny, like, woof. There we go. She's awake now. But it sounded like she was coughing. And I was like, is she coughing? So I went in to check on her. And she was just lying on her back. And now I've woken her up. And I was like, sorry, I was just checking you're okay. You okay? It's okay. It's fine. Nothing's happened. Oh no, I've woken the beast. It's okay. You can come join. I know people probably like, you talk to your dog in like English. She understands, I swear. She understands what I'm talking to her. Isabel says, Aberdeen. Edinburgh was my goal for masters though. So cool you studied that. I'm also English. Oh, hello! Are you okay? Sorry, she's just joined me. I'm also English heading into Scotland for uni. I'm a scuffed version of you. What does that mean? Don't say that about yourself. Well, Isabel, I don't know what you mean by scuffed version. But Aberdeen, is, if you've got a car, Aberdeen's fantastic. Aberdeen has the most beautiful sands and sea. When I went there in April, there's so many castles. You can go to different castles around Aberdeen. Incredible history around Aberdeen. And the beaches there are out of this world. It's like going into a Star Wars film because they're all massive sand dunes and people like toboggan down them because they're huge. It's all crystal clear water, beautiful sands. So in the summer and like the hot weather, Aberdeen's incredible. The architecture's also very gothic. Yes, it is. I mean, some people are a bit like down with Aberdeen. I've actually only ever enjoyed my time in Aberdeen. I really liked every time I went there. And again, if you like history and castles, there are so many, like you throw a stone. I can't remember how many castles there are, but I know I visited at least 8 when I was there for a weekend, and they're intense. They're like beautiful. They're stunning. There's a pink castle as well, which is my favourite. But most of the castles in Aberdeen were pink, but a lot of them haven't got the money to keep painting it again. But there is one that's still kept pink. It's incredible. It will be cold in the winter, but I still really liked Aberdeen. And it's one of the places that I really was saying to a friend of mine that I was thinking of moving to, but I'd be far away from Edinburgh. But it's the only place that you can afford to live, really. It's the cheapest place you can live in Scotland, on the coast. Oh, sorry, I jumped. Hello, my little dog. Are you okay? Have you had a nice nap? Yes. Oh, wait, no, I've missed something. What is Naya reacting to? I love the beginning, but page by page it deteriorated, in my opinion. Oh, no. Cinzia has, like, lost track of the conversation, and now I don't know which one we're talking about. Shayla, congratulations all the way from the Caribbean. My God. How incredible. Thank you, Shayla. I really appreciate that. Nate Dog says, it was nice catching your live stream, but I've got to head out. Thank you so much for joining, Nate. I really appreciate it. Have a lovely rest of your evening. Geeta says, congrats. Thank you, Geeta. Hermes says, I'm laughing along here because this was very unexpected answer. James says, congratulations. Thank you, James. Thank you. Are you the James that I know? James, are you the James that I know? James, that I know a James Sullivan. And I was like, is that the James Sullivan I know? Or a completely different James Sullivan? I'm sorry if you're thinking like, that was a weird reaction. You don't know who I am in real life. I was like, but are you the James that I know? The James Sullivan that I know? Like, I'm just like, is it the James? Oh, the Penelope. Yes, Naya, thank you for reminding me. I was like, ADHD brain is going like, what? What are we talking about? Gecko, if you end up creating art, I definitely want some. Perhaps it could be digital, so you don't have to worry about shipping costs. Yes, I've shown that one before. That picture up there is that by me. I do love my graphic design stuff, and I could probably do digital stuff. I just feel bad that people would have to print it out, you know? Unless it's like printers elsewhere, that can be done a bit more ethically. People says I can't deny them the dog forever. She's on the floor. Do you want to come up and snuggle? Come here. She's comfy. I don't like moving her when she's comfy because she bites me. Yes. Do you want to come and high five me? No, she doesn't high five me. She doesn't want to play. Yes, Lil says, my dog completely understands everything I say too. They're so clever. I know. You can say a sentence and they know what you're talking about eventually. Hermes says, I was considering characters like gods and heroes that you totally take me by surprise. Greek, Egyptian, Celtic, any of the mythologies. Yeah, I think I just love the monsters. I do love the monsters the most. Like the Minotaur. There was a book. Now I'm like thinking about it. There was a childhood book that I read that I really loved and I can't remember. It was called The Minotaur. I can see the cover in my head. And I can't think of who it was by or what it was about. Children's book. I've just got a flashback of it. I was obsessed with this book. No, it wasn't that one. Yes, my darling dog. Shadow of the Minotaur by Alan Gibbons. That was it. I fucking love that book. What was that book about? I can't remember. I loved this book. Wow, I can literally remember the cover. That's so weird. I loved it. When was that from? When was that book out? That Rick. I remember that coming out. Let me age myself. 2000. Oh my god. It's over 22 years old. Bloody love that book. Where was it? Only one time I heard the dog actually say woof. Yeah, my dog does woof. She goes, woof. Jeffrey says, have you ever read Last of the Wine by Mary Renault? No, I haven't. That's one of those I haven't read. It was required reading in my ancient Greek history class in college many, many years ago. You know what? I've been putting off Mary Renault for so long. My godfather gave me one of the Renaults. Which one did he give me? It's a really old edition from like the 80s of the Renaults. And he's like, you have to read Mary Renault. You keep putting her off. And I was like, I know. What was it? It was The King Must Die. That's the one he gave me. I haven't got The Last of the Wine. I haven't got a copy of that one. I'm not going to buy it. That'd be cheeky. But it's something I can put on my wish list, which I've now done. Raz says, are there books on feminism, women's rights that you think everyone should read in light of the current events across the pond? Oh, depression. So, okay. Here's one that I think guys should read. Like, I know a lot of guys are like, I don't want to read about feminism. It bores them. They think it's going to be preachy, like, man-hating stuff. But the one I think is, well, genuinely not about that at all. It's just straight statistics about just basic stuff about how sexism appears in the world in really subtle ways that you don't realise. From clothes manufacturers to tools to iPhones to piano key sizes. It's called Invisible Women. And I think everyone should read that one. Because there were things that I didn't know. Like piano keys. Again, you have to have long fingers, they say, for piano keys, but the standard size is actually exactly perfect for the average man's size fingers, but it's actually completely too wide for most women's fingers. So women pianists have to have long fingers, like myself. I was literally when I was born, apparently my mum was like, oh, she's got pianist fingers. I was like, oh, I'm glad that you were thinking ahead. I literally don't know how to play the piano. But like it was a thing that all the doctors were like, oh, she's going to have little pianist fingers. But it's only pianist fingers because they've made it for a man. So it's just like little things from like how, you know, bulletproof vests are made, seat belts are made to protect men, not women. Bulletproof vests are made, do not fit women properly in the armed forces, and everything, uniforms, even safety gadgets in like building sites, stuff like that. It's shocking where there's a lack of care and safety, or even meeting women's needs, or even considering it. Like they were saying how the iPhone has reached its maximum size capacity now. It will not go any bigger than they are now because it's actually now reached the maximum comfortable size for a man's hand, but it's already extended beyond the maximum size of a woman's comfortable hand spanned size, stuff like that. So Invisible Women I highly recommend for just everyone, because it just highlights little things that no one really knows about, from tools to security to clothing, everything. And it's just facts. It's not there to slate anyone. It's not there to derive or point fingers at anyone. It's purely about systematic failures that are putting women at risk and in danger, or even putting women in discomfort, just based on purely they're not considered. And that one I think is really important. Let alone standards like violence against women. It's a good one. It's down there. I think it's called Violence Against Women, just general. I'm just going to type that in, the book. It's giving me just random Violence Against Women, not the actual book. On violence and on violence against women. Again, that one came out came out in hardback last year, but it's just come out in paperback, I think. And I'm reading that one for my thesis at the moment. But I would say like Invisible Women's really accessible to people. It's not, people aren't going to feel attacked in any way, which I know most people are scared of being attacked, you know, or like angry feminist yells at people. I'm like, yeah, but we're allowed to be angry, aren't they? There's a brilliant poem, a slam poem. Let me just make sure I get her name right. There she is. Portia O. I think they're non-binary now, so I'm going to say they just to be encompassing, just in case. But Portia O in 2014 did a poem called Angry Black Woman, and there's a line in it where it says like, I'm not angry at all. Hell, I'm pissed the fuck off, and I'm allowed. And it's just like this great rant about how we're allowed to be angry at stuff. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's not blaming anyone, but anger is a justifiable response to things that are happening to people in marginalized communities. And you're allowed, like, I'm sweet and I'm nice and I'm pissed the fuck off, and I can be very lovely and considerate, but I'm pissed. And I'm just like, yeah, I get it. And I'm not even a black woman, you know? I'm just like, just little things like that. It's not about attacking anyone or tearing anyone down or making anyone better or blaming anyone. It's just about, we're allowed to be angry about stuff, and that's justifiable. And people's anger is not an attack on you as a person. If you are someone who feels like you're not being blamed. You're not corporate society. You're not systemic racism, misogyny, patriarchy. Like, it's not you. But if you ignore what people are trying to say to you, then you become the problem. If you dismiss what people are saying as just angry women, then you're part of the problem. Then it is you. But if you don't take it personally, you're like, actually, that's not fair. And I think Invisible Women does a wonderful job of going, that's not fair. That's not right, what people are going through. That's not fair that that's a risk for them. That's not fair that that's a problem for them. I would say it's that. It's just, and everyone's going to be like watching this and clipping it and going like, she's an angry feminist. I was like, no. We can point out where things are misogynistic without it being blamed at any one person, or, you know, or just how subtle things are misogynistic in the same way some things are very subtly racist and you don't realise it is. And then when people point it out and people get angry, you're like, don't be angry. It's just learn from it. Like, it's not something to be angry about. You can be angry at yourself, but it's not an attack, it's just feedback. And, you know, we've all gone through it. We've all learned things from a young age. Like, did you know the thing that you're saying is like ableist? And I'd be like, oh my freaking God. You know, like you have to learn. But a lot of people retort with anger and like hurt. I'm like, no, I'm not criticizing you. I'm just pointing something out. And yeah, so I would say Invisible Women is the best book that covers that. But yeah, we don't want to get on that topic. We don't want to get on that topic. Everyone's like, oh my God. James, it is you. I already just called him in the chat. It's James, my little James Sullivan. Do you know how much I've missed you, James? I'm just gonna random rant. Do you know how much I've missed you? You're like the little brother that I've never had. Oh, my little James, I've missed you so much. We should get Emily to exchange numbers. We can catch up over coffee if you're still in Edinburgh. Oh, I've missed you, my little James. We were actors together, if anyone's curious. Everyone's like, what's happening? when my in real life friends like dip in, I'm like, hello. We acted together in 12th Night many years ago. I was like, oh my God, I haven't seen that name in so long. Oh, Volcatronic. I'm sorry for making your name sound erotic just then. Greetings from Romania. I love your channel. Thank you. I've been a Patreon for 2 months now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Seriously, Patreon's the only thing getting me by. You guys have no idea how Patreon's the only thing getting me by. Shayla says, I think you're the first English person who's pronounced my name correctly. Oh my God. To be fair, Shayla, I'm from Birmingham. And it was a wonderful, beautiful, multicultural city. And thankfully that's worked in my favour in terms of learning different, like, everything. Only one thing, typing, I swear this is not a conspiracy question, but what is your opinion on Atlantis? It's a wonderful mythology, but it's not real. Atlantis, when I was a child, it was a thing I wanted to discover. That was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be the person who discovered Atlantis. That was my thing from the age of 11. Seriously, there are maps that I drew. I wrote all these stories and maps, and I was planning my voyage to become like this woman Odyssey that went and discovered Atlantis. It's a metaphor. And it's an open metaphor. And it's okay that it's a metaphor because there are so many sunken cities out there that it's really cool. There is, like, I want to do videos highlighting really cool sunken cities that exist around the world because there are so many. But people are convinced that it's like a conspiracy theory. Basically Atlantis and the Bermuda Triangle were my things when I was 11. And I used to tell my mum, I want to be an adventurer when I grow up. But it is just it's now become a conspiracy theory, but it's just a metaphor. And there are so many cool sunken cities out there. Star Capture, I adore your channel and all your subjects you bring to it. Thank you. As classicist, do you think its studies must start from Mesopotamia to Rome to keep it chronological instead of being Eurocentric? I mean, it would be better if it did that. I don't feel like there's any must in any kind of... I don't believe in dictating musts in any kind of learning. I think people should just learn how they want to learn. But I think it would be better, it'd be more beneficial for students to start in Mesopotamia. Like, genuinely speaking, because I know as a classicist, I don't really have much concept of, like, timelines. It's really hard for me because I got dropped in Greece first. And then I went, like, shuffling back to Hellenic, and then they never even touched on Byzantium, like nothing, in my studies. And I would have benefited more from a chronological point of view in terms of just being able to conceptualize the ancient world. I don't want to say it must, but I think it would be better than being that way. Like, I genuinely think we benefit from it. I also wish it was even more inclusive of ancient, like, Asia, like China. You know, like, I wish it was more inclusive over there. And also, like, just like ancient Asia in general, like India, like these incredible, you know, ancient texts. I wish we covered those. Because again, where I grew up, like I've said this quite a few times, I grew up largely around Muslim, Sikh, and Hindu, like neighbours and friends at school. And I specialised when I was doing my GCSEs. We could either pick to go Christianity or Islam, and I chose to specialise in Islam. And I specialised a lot in like, oh yes, I love learning about like Sikh and hanging out with my friends, you know, in Diwali and celebrating Diwali with them growing up. And I love learning about the Bhagavad Gita and all this kind of rich culture. Their texts are so cool. Like, their texts are so cool. And I was fascinated learning about Islam. And just being close to my friends like that and growing up in that culture. And it's sad that I didn't get the opportunity to even touch that kind of field. It was just like Roman Greece. And I get it, because there's a lot to cover in those fields. But it's a shame that there's not an option for there was only one Egyptology syllabus in my degree, and I couldn't take it because I was a joint, you know, student, and even then it was only archaeology. So only if you were doing archaeology did you do the Egyptology section, but you couldn't even like look into Egyptology as a law or mythology or culture. Like, it was only for archaeology students. It's such a shame, you know. Rafa says hello. Hello, we're back. Saskia says, I appreciate your stance on ethical sourcing for merch rather than selling cheap disposable stuff. I look forward to it. Thank you. And Daryl says amen. Oh no, it bounced down. I'm so sorry, I'm really behind. Thoughts on Harold Bloom? It's outdated, but I've worked on his theories, and ironically, I'm about to pitch a thing to my supervisor that I want to work on. I think she'll be like, you're not intelligent to do that. I'm like, I know I'm not, but I can try, can't I? Like, on working on the anxiety of influence. But I worked a lot on Harold Bloom in my master's thesis, because again, it was very relevant to what I was looking at in my studies back then. He's very useful to work off of. He's very useful for, again, setting a stage, and I'm like, okay, I see you and I raise you this. So I love using him to build from. He's not something that I would like, yes, I'm employing Harold Bloom as my marker. He's someone that I'd like, okay, here's what Harold Bloom did, and here's what this person did to Harold Bloom, and here's how I want to respond to this, because I feel like everything, I mean, all theories get outdated eventually, and that's just the nature of like social evolution, cultural evolution, everything. So it's not a marker on him as a person, very important in terms of literary theory evolution. So I'm not going to say like, he was so wrong, because without him, there'd be so much missing in a lot of my analysis, particularly when I was doing my analysis on postmodernism and modernism and Ulysses and, you know, Wasteland with T.S. Eliot. And, you know, he was a really significant figure that I worked from. So he's not, you know, someone I'd be like, oh, you must read Harold Bloom. It's someone I love. You must read Harold Bloom if you want to work in this section of my thesis. I'm working from a theoretical standpoint because he was significant and he's opened the gateway to a mass discussion that I would like to evolve on. So he's not someone I employ in terms of I stick by his rules. He's someone that I really enjoy bouncing from. So I would say that's my point on Harold Bloom. Thank you, Gravity, for the congratulations. From... I want to pronounce it, but I can't. How do you pronounce that place in Georgia? I'm just like... Tbilisi? Is it Tbilisi or Tbilisi? Tbilisi, Georgia, or Tbilisi, Georgia? Which one's silent, the B or the T? And Marin, congratulations from Southern California. Thank you. Lorraine says, replying to Lumi, I won't ignore. Poach for the Insane, what did I miss? You missed everything, Lorraine. You've missed everything, Poach for the Insane. All Aubrey says, who were you in 12th Night? Such a fun play. Well, my first ever production of 12th Night was for the BBC, and I was 12, and I was Duke Orsino. And then in 2018, with my friend James, I was Olivia. So I was both characters. I played both of my love interests. I got to play a bisexual Olivia who was horny, and it was great. I loved that character so much. I miss playing her. I really miss playing Olivia. Though the costume I was wearing, James would testify, I was sweating. There was one night when I was curled up on the floor. I was going to pass out. I was so hot. And I was like, I'm in pain. I'm fine. Like, I must have had like a really I don't know what the heat had done to me, but it was like stabbing pains. I thought my appendix was going to burst. I was like, it's fine. So every time I went on stage, I acted totally normal, and then came off stage, I was like, oh, I'm dying. I was like, just want to smile, and then I'm dying. It was such a good play. That was the most fun I've had in genuine years. It was the best production I've been in ever. Good directors, good actors, good team of people, just incredible. Raz, understandable. It can be a touchy subject for well reasons. Sorry for bringing it up. Raz is like, sorry. Ong is here. Hello, Ong. Hi, everyone. Oh, no, it bounced again. Oh, Lil says, do you plan on going to any literature festivals this year? I was planning on going to Edinburgh Book Festival, and I completely forgot the tickets went on sale, and I think I've missed all the things I was going to see. So the Edinburgh Book Festival is the biggest book festival in the world, I'm pretty sure. And the tickets went on sale, and I'm pretty sure they went on sale, didn't they? I completely missed everything, and they sell out so bloody fast. I'm just checking now the festival thing. Did I miss it? Did I really miss it? I'm so annoyed with myself. Oh, poo. I think they went live on the 23rd. Could be tomorrow. I don't know when the tickets go on sale. Because there's quite a few events I want to go see. And I can't work it out. I'm not being funny, but Edinburgh International Book Festival, if you're watching this, your website is shit. It's so confusing. I'm just going to say this. You and HMRC are right up there with one of the worst designed websites I've ever seen. It drives me balmy. Book, let me see. Wait, oh damn it, they've all gone on sale. Fuck. I thought they hadn't gone. Damn it. They've all sold. Poo. So I probably missed all the ones I wanted to go see. Which is fine. It's fine. Fine. I can just I'll do it at a later date. But basically I wanted to go to this one. I'll look at what's free. There are a couple of them are still online this year. I'm not going to Wigtown again. I've been to Wigtown twice. And the second year, it was pretty disappointing. Unless you're going at the very beginning and you get to stay over there, it's probably a nicer experience. But when you're just visiting for the day and you're at the end of the festival, it's a little bit drag your heels. I wasn't that happy with the last time I went to Wigtown, so I won't go again. Oh, Sly Agent said, I only subbed yesterday. Really shocked me to the core when I heard what Roald Dahl was really like. Gives going solo a darker meaning. And also Mesopotamia, yes, rich history. Poetry for the saying, I get what you're saying about Atlantis, and I don't have a strong opinion either way, but Randall Carlson, a geologist, has done some really interesting research on Atlantis. You might like to check it out. I will. I'm always open. Star Capture. Have you reconciled with Mary Beard? Mary Beard is someone that I respect from an academic perspective. She's not conscious about what she's saying online is very hurtful to a lot of people. And I don't respect people who stalk their students' profiles on Twitter and then decide to quote tweet them and put them on blast, especially when those students did not mention her by name, did not tag her in anything, and they are marginalised non-binary students of colour. She has only ever gone for students of colour, and she has blacklisted them and put them on blast to her mass audience. and they have all been very vulnerable students at her university, and that is not professional behaviour. And that is where I draw a line with Mary Beard, because it's not professional and it's dangerous to students' mental health, especially when those students have not mentioned her by name. They have code named her to like something like MB or the teacher that we shall not talk about, and they're not saying anything but talking to themselves, and she's gone out of her way to gone through their profiles to read all their tweets to see if they mention her in any cryptic way, and she searches herself. And it's like, Mary, get more hobbies. There are better things for you to be doing than becoming completely obsessed with what students rightfully criticise, because a lot of the stuff that she does is damaging to students of colour, and she does put a lot of stuff out there that makes people who are trans and non-binary feel very scared and threatened in the field of in classics and ancient history, and that's not how we want students to feel. They do not want to feel that a lecturer at their university feels that way towards them. And then if they voice any opinion in their own private sphere where they're not mentioning her and not talking about her, and then for her to put them on blast in a quote tweet several times, and they have all been students of colour. And it's not fair. And they've all been either trans students, non-binary students, queer students, and students of colour. Never a straight white cis girl or cis man. Like, it's never been us who've been very open and critical about her. It's always been these marginalised students, and it's weird. And it's a weird behaviour, and it's unprofessional. And academically speaking, she has so much to offer. And she is a lovely woman. But I can't respect how she treats students online, and it sets a dangerous precedent for students who are in an all very, very elitist institute, and they already feel marginalised, and they're already subjected to things like homophobia and racism in these elitist institutes. And it sets a precedent for other students to treat them that way, and it's just punching down, and it's not okay. And as someone who would love, one day, I would love in my dream world to be a lecturer. That would be a dream of mine, to have students. And I take it very seriously that students are people that I should protect. They are people in a very vulnerable situation. There's a lot of mental health stresses for them. There's a lot of pressure on them. There's a lot of danger out there for them. And it's a very vulnerable place to be, university. And especially when they're a marginalised student, any student is worth my protection. Because again, it's a vulnerable thing to be through. You're very young, you're very vulnerable, you're going through a big stage, and particularly when you're in a big institution like that, like Cambridge or Oxford, there's a lot of prejudices there, there's a lot of elitism there. But regardless of your background, your race, if you're posh, rich, poor, working class, whatever, I as a lecturer would make it my mission to protect my students and keep them safe and make them feel like they have, as any teacher should to a student. When you're a teacher in a school and a lecturer at a university, you are someone that your students should feel comfortable and safe to approach with any issues that they have. And that could be from suicidal ideation to being bullied to struggling with your mental health to anything. You should not have a status as a lecturer to put them in a dangerous position where their mental health and potentially their professional and personal reputation is damaged, and they are attacked and put in a vulnerable position. You are there, yes, to teach them, but you're also there to protect them. And it is disappointing that someone of that high caliber puts students in that vulnerable position. And I take it seriously, because I was a vulnerable student, and as a dream of being a lecturer, it would be my mission to protect and keep my students feeling safe and feeling like they could come to me in any circumstances and be there for them and support them. And when you do that online, as not only a lecturer, but a famous one at that, you're kind of breaking a code, in my opinion. You're breaking, how doctors swear that they will save lives no matter what? It's a code. Regardless if you directly teach that student or not, students shouldn't feel unsafe in their institution, regardless if that's higher education or just general school. They should feel safe there, because you are a guardian of not only knowledge but also them in that context. And it's just not something you should do. I'm sorry, it's not something you should do. So yeah, That's my rant. It's not that, you know, again, I disagree with her on a lot of, you know, clearly she has some ideologies which lie away from trans rights, which I obviously disagree with as someone who supports everyone, regardless if you are straight white male or you are trans or non-binary or black, white, whatever, race, creed, religion. I am here to support people regardless. You know, I'm not here to put anyone down. And, you know, so I'm not here to put her down. I just think she doesn't think before she tweets, and it's not part of her character, and it's just not something that should be done with students. It really should not be something that should be done. And I'm like, just get better hobbies, Mary. Like, get better hobbies, because she has so much to offer, and she does deliver and offer so much to the world of classics. She's done so much. Like, she's done so much, and she's tarring her name at this stage of life. I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you going down Jermaine Greer's path? Stop it. You're better than Jermaine fucking Greer. And there's my rant on that. Have you read The Colour of God? No, I have not. I have not. Have I even seen that? Let me see what that looks like, that book cover. I'm not familiar with The Colour of God. Let me see that. I've never seen that book cover before. That's beautiful. No, I shall put it to the list. Thank you for the recommendation. I'll add it to my little list. Here we go. Good to see you enjoying your videos. Thank you, David. You probably like left the stream. Probably like, she didn't reply to me. It's been like 20 minutes. She went on a rant. Yeah, theories have a tendency to age like milk, and it's fun. It's fun that they age like milk. You just build on them. Sarah says, you having dyslexia and ADHD and being in English humanities gives me hope that I could do something with literature. Good. Because, you know, I was just told I was dumb my whole life. I was just told I was dumb. And it makes me sad when people say, like, we can't be in the field. Oh, like, seriously, I made a massive error in my PhD recently because I misread a word, and I wrote a whole argument because I misread this one word, and literally my supervisor emailed me late at night and was like, Cinzia, the word is this, not that. And I was like, fuck. I kid you not. I literally like died and like went like this, like down. I was like, oh my fucking God. Like I just shrank and died in my thing because I misread a word and wrote a whole fucking argument against this word. Against this choice of word, against what this word meant. Misread it. Completely misread it. And I told my cousin and she just laughed. And she was like, seriously, we make stupid mistakes like that. But like, my supervisor emailing me going like, Cinzia, it says this. I was like, oh my God, just like, kill me now. Like, she must think I'm so dumb. But you just have to laugh and move on. You make mistakes and you just laugh and move on. Are you going to join me? Someone's standing up. Come on. Come snacks. Yes. Come. Oh, I think she wants a pee-pee. But if you stay, the dog will join me. But she wants pee-pee, so I'll be right back. Come on then. Let's go. Good girl. Right, let's go. I'm coming back. Thank you for waiting. Hopefully the dog will join me. She's just having her post pee-pee treats where I feed her after peeing outside successfully and not peeing on my bed. Basically, it's like reward. David says, trying to get my daughter to watch you. She's a huge fan of ancient Egypt, Rome, and the like. Plus, she also has strong anxiety issues. I mean, I don't want to intimidate her or anything like that, but I hope she watches me. Though I do swear, I'm sorry, David, if that's a bad influence on your daughter. Oh, David, I also say thank you for the congratulations. Oh, Aubrey says Olivia's my favourite character. Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, it jumped. Sorry. Mariella says congratulations. So much hard work and dedication over the years. I always look forward. Thank you so much. And Myra says, I'd love to know if you are a singer. You sound like a soprano or perhaps a coloratura. Well, I sing, but I'm not a singer, so I wouldn't know which one I am. I'm not trained in singing, so I don't know any kind of singing terms like that. But I like to sing by myself a lot. And I've been told I sound okay. I've been told I sing okay, so I'll take that. Do you want to join me? I think she's curled back up on the bed, I'm afraid. She came in just to demand to be let out for a pee-pee. But I can go quite high-pitched, but I don't think I could hold a note at that high pitch. But I remember when I was auditioning for a theatre school, and I did this, scene for the audition, and they asked me, like, are you a singer? And I was like, I'm not trained. And they're like, your range is really good. Like, you can go really high and really low. And they're like, I assume you're a singer. And then when I was in 12th Night, a few years ago now, again, apparently someone came up to my director and asked him if I was a singer because they wanted me for their group. And I was like, I'm not trained. And it was like an operatic group. And I was like, no, I'm not trained. You wouldn't want me in your opera group. I have no training. Have you heard of Randall Carlson? I have. He's a very interesting person. He sounds really down-to-earth person who makes a very good case for Zora's Fit. I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that, but I will pop him on my list to explore him. I'm open to everything all of the time. I've just seen Sly Agents going, nah, screwed up on Mary's part, screw her. It's like, no. And oh, thank you, David. Another David said congratulations. Oh, Agent, thank you for saying great. Oh, and bless you. Only one time you said you're fucking awesome. I feel strongly about that. So it was just more, it's just more how she treats people. I get angry on how people treat people more than anything else. The world is full of nuance, and labels don't define people. And, I know people who are very, leftist, who I really disagree with. I find their morals and how they treat people really bad. And I know people who vote Tory who are bloody lovely and they're really supportive and not abusive. And I know leftists who are incredibly abusive. And I know horrible Tories and I know lovely leftists. And it's all, labels don't define people. How people treat people is how I judge people. So whilst, I love Mary's work and, what she's done for classics, and, I've met her a couple of times and she's been wonderful. It upsets me and disappoints me when she hurts people like that, very vulnerable people especially, and it's not okay. And it's just not okay. And it frustrates me of what it symbolises in terms of academia in general. And so yeah, it's more angry for that point. And yes, I disagree with her, on a lot of things as well, but sometimes I can convince people to think otherwise. Everyone's open for their judgment to be changed, but how she treats people is very disappointing. Oh, and no, thank you for words on protecting students. It's really important. People forget that. I know some of them are adults. Like, they're adults. A lot of them are. But regardless of their age or anything, students deserve protecting because that's what you're there for. You're more than just a teacher. You're there to protect them and make them feel comfortable. Because heaven forbid something happened, there's a lot of power dynamics at university and some people are incredibly cruel with it and they need someone to turn to, and you in the institution need to take steps to protect them and make sure things like that don't happen. And, it just angers me. Starcapture, who's your favourite TV historian? Bethany Hughes or Dr. Joan Fletcher? I don't watch TV, so I don't have one. I know my friend who's also a classicist actually really dislikes Bethany Hughes. And she always goes on about it. She's like, I don't like Bethany Hughes. I don't watch TV. So I can't say I have one. I don't. Yeah, I'll watch like the odd show, like Squid Game, or what else have I watched? What did we talk about earlier? Oh, like The Silent of Haunting Hill House. But I don't watch casual TV. I haven't had a television since I was a child, and I've never had a television license. I've never owned one. I've never had a little TV box, so I don't watch things online. Like I don't watch the BBC or ITV or Channel 4 or anything like that. So I don't have one, I'm afraid. Do 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 do. Who's your favourite author as of late? The amount of books I've got in my Libby app. Mine's Ellen Montgomery. My favourite author as of late? Who is my favourite author as of late? I haven't read many good books this year. Let me think. Oh, okay. I was saying, okay, they're only a one. It's not really a favourite author though, is it? They've only got one book. I can't say that. There's only one book. Potentially, no. Changed my mind. As I was saying it, I was like, no, actually, I didn't like their other book that they just came out with. I don't think I have one. There's always one book I like and then one book I don't. Like Natalie Haynes. I didn't like 1,000 Ships, but I really liked Pandora's Jar. I was going to say Natalie Haynes, and I don't think I have one. I don't think I have an author. Lil, do you have a little garden for your dog? I don't have a little garden. I have a balcony, but it's not an official balcony. Basically, it's part of the rooftop. One of my windows opens up to just a bit of roof. It's not a fancy balcony that goes out onto anywhere, but it's a building down below me. So the dog can go on top of the roof and she can go out and pee there. And obviously I pick up stuff, but it's just a rooftop. It's like literally like no bigger than my desk area, but it's easier to let her out there than take her out and drag her downstairs. So yeah, she goes out onto this little tiny section outside my bedroom window. It lets her out. I think people used to put laundry out there, kind of thing. It's just like a teeny tiny step. Oh no, it's jumped down. Who's your favourite band? I don't really listen to music, which sounds really weird, doesn't it? I'm not a music listener. And when I do listen to music, I listen to the same songs. Maybe again, that's ADHD. I haven't really changed my music since I was at school. But so to give you an insight, my favourite genre of music is rap and R&B, and it always has been. And from the age of 10, I was obsessed with Kanye West and Eminem. And I know Kanye's not he's taken a very nasty toll in the past few years. And unfortunately, he's become very abusive. And that's a real shame, because I was a massive Kanye West fan growing up, and he was my favourite artist. So I mainly listen to rap music and R&B, because I go back to my old like 90s and noughties R&B. I don't really have a band though. I tend to only listen to singular people, and even then it's the old school stuff. Ultranaut said, do humanities PhD students have some sort of competency exams roughly in the middle of their programme? No, so it depends on what country you're in. In the UK, you don't have any examinations. You just have one at the end of your whole PhD, and that's your viva. Obviously, I know in different countries, they have, like, you attend classes and you have to hand in multiple essays or potentially do exams. But in the UK, pretty much as far as I know, I don't know of anyone who's ever done anything other than their viva at the end of their dissertation. So you don't take any classes, it's all independent research for the entirety of your PhD. And at the end of it, you develop your thesis and you hand it in, and then the viva is basically an examination where you defend your thesis, and people ask you questions or they challenge things that you've written about, and at the end of it you either have to correct things or you don't. So they say, like, we don't like this thing in it, please change this, otherwise you are a doctorate and you pass. Or they say, yeah, there's nothing we want to change, you defended your arguments, fine, you're fine. So there's no exams, so thankfully no. But when I was an undergraduate, I had many exams as a humanities student. I had more exams than everyone else I knew. In my final year, I had 11 exams, which I thought I would avoid by being a humanities student, but no, there were 11. Chinsey, have you thought of joining Storygraph? It's run by 3 people team and independent, unlike Goodreads, which is owned by Amazon. Consider, Lumi, I don't want to pay for apps, and they make me pay, and I don't like that. So I liked Storygraph as a concept, but I don't want to pay. I really resent paying for apps. Oh no, I'm out of focus. There I am, I'm back in focus again. Sorry, I've really just noticed that. I must have been chatting out of focus that whole time, so sorry. Poetry for the Insane. I'm reading Finnegan's Wake. Oh my god. Poetry for the Insane, you may want to search for my channel. There's a video where I read Finnegan's Wake for the first time. It's very funny. I have not read Finnegan's Wake. I read the first few pages of Finnegan's Wake on a video out for a laugh, out loud, which was very funny. So yeah, it's a really old video of me doing that, but I haven't read Finnegan's Wake. I've avoided it. Storygraph is free. Every time I've gone on Storygraph, I've had to pay. Because I downloaded Storygraph and I was like, oh, I can't use this. And I just deleted it. And then my friend used Storygraph and I was like, oh, I have to pay. That's so weird. Because I know I've deleted it 3 times. Because I was like, oh. So there's been a reason why I've deleted it. And I could have sworn it was because it wasn't free. That's so weird. Everyone's saying it's free. What am I looking for? Oh, only one. Only one Kenobi! Sorry. Only one time he was like, call me only one, I was like, only one Kenobi. Do you have any good textbooks or paths for learning Latin? I do, Isabel. Let me go get them. These are the books that I would recommend. These are the ones that I used. You have Reading Latin Text, and basically they're the Cambridge Reading Latin text. If you search Reading Latin Cambridge, you will get these. They're the old school classic ones. I don't know what page I've marked here. That's so funny. There's a ticket from, when was that? Curious. When was this ticket? I always used to keep tickets, you see. When was that? The 21st of the 3rd, 2013. That's how old this book. Oh, it was World Book Night. Oh. Oh. 23rd of April, 2013. It's nearly a decade old. That was like in here. So this was my textbook when I was learning Latin. One of them's like the exercise. So these are the things that you translate. Look, literally my old Latin declensions. So yeah, this is a textbook, and that's where you translate the stuff. And then this is where you learn the Latin in this one. So if you just search Cambridge Reading Latin, it's by Peter Jones and Keith Sidwell. But if you search just Cambridge Reading Latin, you'll get them. These are the most comprehensive. This is the only one I ever use. And I went up to Advanced Latin. Oh, my baby's learning. I really enjoyed learning Latin. But yeah, they're my ones and they're down here in case I ever need them. But I specialise in Greek mythology, so it's not like I need them during my thesis, but you know, it's just in case. Lumi saying, please add her on Storygraph, people, as Lumi. Since you read Ancient Latin, oh no, I don't read, no, Star Capture, I do not read Ancient Latin or Greek. I can barely read Ancient Latin, but I haven't touched it in nearly a decade, and I've never learned Greek. So I cannot read Egyptian hieroglyphs or cuneiform. I can't read any any ancient languages. I'm not good at ancient languages. I cannot read them. I can kind of get by with Latin, but I haven't read Latin since I was an undergraduate, which was 2014. So I'm very rusty on that. Lumi's also part of the librarian. Everyone's going on Storygraph. Everyone join Storygraph. I'm just making sure I haven't missed anyone. Kieran, thank you for the congratulations. And Lil says, for my undergrad, I had one timed essay, and that was a whole 3 years. Unlucky. Wow. All of my exams were timed. Like, all of my exams were timed essays. My work, oh God. I shouldn't talk about it because it was very dark. It was a very dark day. But basically, my last ever exam was my classics exam, and it was timed. And I froze for the first 45 minutes because I was very unwell as an anorexic, and I only had 2 hours to write 4 essays. I can't remember what that broke down to, but I basically lost an essay and a half, time-wise, because it was at a time where I hadn't eaten for a long time, and I just froze. I just didn't have the energy to move my fingers. Like, my body just shut down. And I then panic wrote. And I answered every single essay, but obviously I lost 45 minutes. And I came out, and to put it bluntly, the university had a train station, and I'm laughing now. I laugh when I'm dark and it's humorous. They clearly sent down a guard to come and talk to me because unfortunately, the university train station was also not only the university train station, but it was closest to the nearest hospital, and sadly, a lot of people did the thing at the train station. So they had people on the platforms. You can work out what that means. And a guard came down to me because clearly someone had said, that girl is on the brink, go and talk to her. So I had a guard come talk to me after that exam because clearly it was very evident that I was not in a good place. And I was just devastated. I was like, I've just failed my undergraduate degree. Or rather, I hadn't gotten to Edinburgh because there's no way I passed that exam. And I was just so devastated. And then exam results came around and I got a fucking first in that exam. In an hour and a quarter minutes, I somehow wrote 4 essays and I got a first in it. Which goes to show you that you should not jump to conclusions or judge yourself and certainly not hang around a train station platform when you're in a dark place. But bless the guard, he was just like, are you all right? I'm laughing now. It was clearly, they were clearly on call because they knew it was exam period, and it's such a dark story. What have I missed? What countries would you like to visit other than Italy and Greece? Honestly, I don't really want to travel. After my last experience, I don't want to go abroad again. It wasn't worth the money, it was too expensive, and I'm now kicking myself for having spent that much money. That was like a year's worth of savings. Like £1,000 is a lot of money, and to lose that on just like accommodation, travel, food for 5 days, I'm still really angry at myself for taking a holiday. And I know I shouldn't be angry because you're meant to take a break, and it was my first one in over a decade, but still, I don't want to travel again after that experience, and I think I just accept that I'm not someone who likes to travel, and I don't want to spend my money that way. And if other people want to, that's fine. But genuinely, if they want to, that's fine. But I'm like now, like paying the price for it, and I just wish I hadn't done it, in all honesty. So I do not want to think about, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about traveling anywhere else. Luma says, when was it? Maybe it was when it was a beta. Because once they released it a year ago, it's been free. Okay, because I remember downloading it straight when it came out. So it may have been the beta. No, I never used Wheelock's Latin. Oh, thank you, Caro-chan, for the congratulations. Oh, we jumped down. Magic Martin says, I asked you on Instagram if you have any interactive books. I'm a big fan of the Ology book series, like Dragonology, Wizardology. I remember those when I was a kid. Is that right? So those ones that I remember as a kid, Dragonology. Yeah, that big red one. I don't think I have any interactive books. I'm afraid I don't use Instagram anymore. I've left social media. I think the only one that comes close to an interactive book is, let me get out. The Unfortunates by B.S. Johnson. It's only an interactive book in that the pages are not bound. They're all just little pamphlets. And to read the book, you are supposed to drop them on the floor and randomly pick them up again and read it. And I'm just really scared. So it says, this novel has 27 sections temporarily held together by removable wrapper. Apart from the first and the last sections, which are marked in order, 25 sections are intended to be read in any random order. If readers prefer not to accept the random order which they receive the novel, then they may rearrange the sections into another random order before reading. I think that's the closest I have to an interactive book. That one. Get back. There we go. Oh no, made a mess of this. What about Old English? I'm barely getting started with it, but it seems easier than Latin and Greek. Old English... Are you talking about, like, the Fairy Queen? Or are you talking about, like, Middle English? So... I always get confused with what people are referring to when they go to Old English, because some people are referring to, like, medieval, and then some people are referring to, like, what do you call it? Like, ye old fairy queen. Which I fucking hate. I suppose it would be, like, Old Anglo-Saxon if you're saying Old English. Is that what you're referring to? I cannot. I think the oldest I've got to is Fairy Queen level. I'm not good with languages. It's not something I'm good at all. Kara-chan says, I had a panic attack during my culinary final. I didn't pass, now I bake for a living. That's amazing. Kieran says, I also wanted to say how much I love your home decor. Everything in shot is so beautiful. Thank you. The rest of my house is a tip. Like, everything else is just like, oh, what? Just disorganized mess everywhere. It's because it's very cramped, my house, unfortunately. So everything's like on top of each other. It's horrible. My mum tells me off when she comes. She's like, your house is disgusting. It's just like, it's just such like a clutter bomb. But thank you. Oh, thank you, Karo-chan. You deserve to spend your money and have vacation. I mean, I wish I spent it elsewhere. Like, I know I deserve to spend my money how I want, but I wish I hadn't. Sandy, I never judge people's behaviour during exam time. It's a high pressure time for some people. They don't need my conclusions at that time. No, I'm the same. I'm terrible at exams. I have fainted before exams. I've vomited before exams. I've wet myself before exams. I'm terrible at exams. I'm really bad at exams. Oh, Jeffrey, thank you for the congratulations. Star Capture, Egypt's a bit cheap. I heard Jordan's accessible too. Genuinely don't want to go abroad. I don't think I'd feel comfortable going to Egypt alone, purely because I don't know the language. I don't know the area. Like, at least I could judge Italy. Like, I've been to Florence before, so going alone was not that scary. I don't think I could go to a country where I literally have no idea of the language. by myself, I'd be absolutely terrified. And also, I just don't want to go. I genuinely don't want to travel again. I really dislike the whole experience, so I don't think I'll go. Even if it's cheap, like even like going, technically I'd love to see Amsterdam. But even then, if, you know, I look at the prices, I'm like, no, I still don't want to go. I still want to go. Poetry for the Insane doing Beowulf at the moment. God, I had to do Beowulf in undergraduate. I did not like Beowulf. Maybe it's just me. It's not my scene. I'm not a massive fan of that period of English literature, and I'm not a massive fan of Victorian literature either. I know, controversial. I'm just not a massive fan. Futile Unicorn says, I froze during my French speaking exam. Somewhere there is a tape of me introducing myself in French and then saying nothing for like 35 minutes in a manic giggling. Oh my, I still remember the introduction to my French exam when I was 16, and none of it's accurate now. Like, so I can say it because I don't live there or anything. I was like, je m'appelle Cinzia, j'ai 16 ans, mon anniversaire c'est le 5 novembre, je suis anglaise, j'habite à Sutton-Coldfield près de Birmingham en Angleterre. Everything else I have no idea. I just remember that fucking introduction. And everything else I was like, no. Poetry for the Insane, yeah. But it feels odd for me to call it Anglo-Saxon. It feels a little pretentious. Why would it be? No, it wouldn't be pretentious. I wouldn't call it that. Melly Lou, congratulations. Have really enjoyed watching you for years. Thank you. Also, thank you for the recommendations of Typewriter books. I visited Edinburgh for the first time recently, and it was one of my highlights. Amazing. Who served you? I'm curious. Was it Tom or Elsa? Do you know? Thank you, Nat Mari. I really appreciate it. Kara-chan, what's so scary about travelling? Well, I'm afraid of flying. I'm afraid of getting lost. And both those things happened in Italy, in a city that I've been to before. So I'm really scared of getting lost again now after that experience. So I'm really scared. I was scared before, and now I'm more scared of going to a country or a city that I've never been to and getting lost there when I don't speak the language. That was really petrifying for me in Italy. So I don't want to go through that again, ever. And I know it will happen. So yeah, I don't want to ever be in a situation where I can't speak the language and I get lost. And I don't speak any languages. So I don't want to go anywhere again. Like, I don't want to go anywhere where I can't ask for help. It was too frightening. If I don't know how to ask for help, it's just ridiculous. So yeah, I just genuinely don't want to go abroad again. And there's nowhere that speaks, like, it's not even a language thing in that, like, I wouldn't ever want to go to America either. I don't want to go to Canada. I don't want to go to Australia. Like, no English speaking countries either. I'm very, very socially anxious. And just that experience in Italy has just put me off for life. I was like, never again am I going to a place where I can't speak the language in case I get lost. It was just too scary for me. Starcatcher, your favourite female enemy of Rome? Cleopatra, Zenobia, Boudica. Boudica. Fucking love Boudica. I named a dog after Boudica, not my current dog. That's what I can tell you. I would love another dog called Boudica. Because, yeah, I love the name. Yeah, Boudica. Kara-chan, yeah, Google Translator is useful, but my phone wasn't working abroad. And it just, no, I'm just never doing it again. I just don't want to do it again. What made you start your YouTube channels? Nat Mari, Charlie is so cool, like. I used to watch him, and I just wanted to do what Charlie did. So that's why I started my YouTube channels. And also I've just always been a very, like, insular person. I like performing, but I don't like socializing. So it was like a way of doing the thing that I like without actually being a normal human being. Like, I just wanted, like, yesterday I interacted with someone face to face, and she gave me a look that said, like, you're such a fucking weirdo. And I was like, you're right. I am such a fucking weirdo. And I just came back wanting to die. Like, I'm not good in real life. Like, I saw her face going, okay. I mean, I was like, oh my God, I just want to die. And I was like, I'm really sorry, I'm really weird. And she was like, no, it's okay. And I was like, oh my God, I just want to die. Like, I just hate being in the real world. I was like, I hate it. So YouTube is a way that I can talk and feel like I'm a real person and socialize without being a real person. But yeah, I was like, so yeah, that's why I can just be my weird self without that social interaction. That makes me feel really uncomfortable. Jeffrey says, by December I plan to have all my paperwork completed to start my direct PhD in ancient Indo-European religion and myth. That's awesome. Good luck with that, Jeffrey. Congratulations. Yeah, we were all forced to do French oral exams. Oh, the joy. Melly, Tom served you. Tom is lovely. They're such a lovely person. He's so funny, isn't he? He has a roaring voice. They're non-binary. Sorry, I just misgendered them. My apologies. Star capture. Don't let one experience hunt you there. There's so many ones to see. Go with tourist groups or tourism company. I generally, star capture, I know you're saying that, I just don't want to. Like, I'm just going to be frank. I don't like travelling. I just don't want to. I mean, it's something I've only done like 6 times in my life. And it's not something I ever enjoyed. I just don't think I'm someone who likes travelling. It's just not my thing. I just don't want to. It's like how some people don't want to go to the theatre or they don't want to play sports. I just don't want to travel. Like, you get a lot out of being in a team and playing football or playing tennis or entering competitions and stuff like that. I'm just someone who just doesn't like to travel. It's just not my thing. I just don't want to. I certainly don't want to hang out with strangers. Did you hear me say how I talked to someone in a shop yesterday? I am not good with people face to face. I'm a very insular person who prefers to be alone and not interact with people. I would not want to be with strangers on a tour group. Like, no way. That was my idea of absolute hell, in my opinion. That's genuinely my idea of hell. I would rather eat bugs than be on a tour group. Like, genuinely, I would rather... Someone says, like, I know you're a vegan, but can you sit here and eat spiders or go on a tour group? And I was like, I'll eat the spiders for a week than go on a 2-day tour group with people I don't know. I would rather eat spiders for a week. And I'm scared of spiders. So that's how uncomfortable it would make me. Dorota says, the only form of travelling my anxiety allows me to do is riding my bike to the woods to read books. No people, just trees. Kind of my thing. I'm too anxious to ride a bike. I'm really anxious outside. People don't understand. Like, there are days where I won't leave my house. I'm very anxious. I'm a very anxious person. I always have been. So yeah, I'm too scared. I'm scared of cars. I'm scared of bikes. I'm scared of riding bikes. I'm scared of a lot of stuff. Traveling is indeed overrated to me too. See, now Mari doesn't like traveling. It's okay to be weird. It's okay not to want to travel. Yeah, it's not my thing. I just didn't like it. I felt like I was just wasting a lot of money. I just felt quite bored. I felt really anxious and really scared. And I was doing all the things. I'm just like fucking doing things. I don't really turn off my brain. Yeah, I'm too homebound to want to travel anywhere. And you know, a lot of people say like people who travel the world are, I don't know, they say they're, I don't think I've ever really actually met someone who's interesting because they travelled the world. I've met more interesting people who read a lot of books than people who travelled the world. Like, there are people that I know who have never left their countries and they're incredible people who just read loads of books and they've written lots of books and they've explored lots of concepts, and there are people who've travelled the world and they've just done like tourist stuff, but they didn't learn anything, they didn't pick up anything, and they just talk about they went to this hotel or they went to this poolside or they saw this thing, and I'm like, yeah, but what about it? Like, they can't have a discussion other than boast about it, and I'm like, there's always like a limit. There are very few people who travel the world and really get something out of it. And I used to hate it on dating apps when people say like, I've been to 47 countries. I'm like, okay, you have disposable income. That's not something to, like, it's such a privilege. Like, it's not a marker of like you as a character. It's just like you've got privilege. It's like, Like, my dad's a Tory. Like, why would you boast about that? Like, show something for it, you know? Show that you have charisma or you've engaged with the culture. But most of them just do it as a tick box, and it's quite, you know, depressing. What have I missed? Kieran, I hate it when people make others uncomfortable. People are so interesting. Should be given the freedom to express who they are without judgment. And that's the thing. I mean, the person didn't make me uncomfortable. I wouldn't blame the person. I'm just naturally an uncomfortable person. I could just tell that she thought I was really fucking weird. And I was like, oh my god, I am weird. She's right. Like, I just felt it. I was like, oh no, I don't know how to interact with people. And people would blame internet culture. They'd be like, I was like, no, I've always been this way. Since I was a child, I was really weird. But what's interesting is I've been watching like ADHD channels and people talking about ADHD, and apparently a lot of ADHD people are made to feel weird. And I'm like, oh, is it an ADHD thing? Are we weird? Is that what we are? Are we weird? I need to go drink. Let me just read. Kara-chan. I don't know how people ride bikes and scooters without helmets. It scares me watching them. I'm like, please put on. And I even saw a man get hit on his bike a couple of years ago, just before the pandemic. I was literally there walking with my dog, and the cyclist came. He was literally just a few feet in front of me, and a car hit him, and he went tumbling, and he didn't have a helmet on. Thankfully, he was okay because the car wasn't speeding. He was just turning the corner, but the cyclist was speeding, and he didn't look. So the car was turning, and the cyclist went into the car and went over his bonnet, wasn't wearing a helmet. We ran up to it, like, other strangers around me ran up to him. He was totally okay. He was grazed. But I was like, dude, you're not wearing a helmet. If he'd been speeding, well, actually, you could have, he was at fault, the cyclist, and it was just so nerve-wracking. Patchball says, just found your channel through the Rome Not Existing video. Congrats on 100 subs. Thank you. I'm really appreciative. Love to meet you, Patchballs. Alexander says, travelling in academia is more like gatekeeping. It's very cultural capital, social capital. I mean, again, it was a big... I don't know anyone who has travel for academia. Most of us don't. Not unless you're doing a language or potentially archaeology. Most of us who do the literature don't. But I can see it being a thing. Oh, God. Daniel says, I encountered someone yesterday who said World War II never happened. Oh God, it's one of those people. They're the ones that don't believe that. They just believe the Jews are making up everything. It's like, there was never a Holocaust. It's a Holocaust denier, clearly. Oh God. Gecko, I'm going on a major trip later this summer in order to meet a good friend of mine, and I'm excited to see them, but I'm majorly dreading leaving my cat and having to go through the stress of it. Oh, I get that. I get that a lot. I was very stressed being away from the dog. Very, very, very stressed. Oh, Nat Mario, what are your favourite channels to watch? Would you know? Okay, it's going to be really weird. My favourite channel is That Chapter and Coffee House Crime. I love true crime channels that do it ethically. And I think those two are two of the best to watch. And I really love watching their channels. And like, That Chapter is funny without being derogatory. Like, he's only cracks jokes at the expense of, like, the murderer. But it's more witty remarks than anything, and I really enjoy That Chapter. And Coffee House Crime, I think, does a lovely job of putting forward the victim of true crime before anything else, and I think he does a really lovely job of that. Kara-chan, see you later. Take care. Have a lovely day. Thank you for joining. I'll be wrapping this up soon as well, because I've been going on for a very long time. I've been going on for nearly 3 hours. So yes, I think those are my two favourite channels. I watch them a lot, like religiously. And they're nothing to do with ancient history or anything, are they? They're just completely out of... Slices, I watch Chapter and Coffee House. I love them. I love those two. They just make me feel very happy. I also watch a lot of H3. I really enjoy H3 podcasts, which is probably shocking to a lot of people because some of their humour is not really my thing, but I don't know, I really enjoy them. I like watching H3. I just want to laugh sometimes. I watch channels that either make me laugh or engage in my darkness. You like Mafia YouTube videos? The Mafia YouTube videos? Are they the Mafia, or just, is it something else? I want to add that to the list of the Mafia YouTube. Oh, Daniel says Coffee House Crowd is one of your favourites as well. He's great. He's done such a good thing. Channel Cinema Therapy. Interesting. I don't watch many films, so a lot of these channels go over my head. I say that. I do enjoy Cinema Theorist guy. What's his name? Is it called... It's a theory. A film theory. There we go. It's film theory. I like him. Channel Tick History. No. Never heard of that one. Thank you for the recommendation. Oh, Tom, thank you for the $20. I really appreciate it. Congrats on 100k. Thank you. It's really kind. Natalie says, hey, I just arrived. Congrats on the milestone. Thank you, Natalie. I really appreciate it. Oh, the dog's gone crazy. Darling, please. It's okay. It's okay. Sorry. Mr. Bonzi, the travelling thing reminds me of people who just go to the museums to go to the museums. They just walk around and look at, yes, that's very good. Instead of actually reading and learning. Yeah, I get that. That's the same. Darling. Oh no. Let me calm her down for a sec. Darling, it's okay. Come here. Yes, it's just people. Come here. Yes. Yes. Oh, someone's grumpy. Someone's very grumpy. The dog. She's very grumpy. Sorry. Yeah. Angelo says recent sub and Patreon here. Thank you, Angelo. Love your mental health content and the rest, of course. You're more awesome than you admit to yourself. Thank you. It's really kind. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Have I seen what do you call it? The Casual Criminalist channel. No, I haven't. I will look up that one as well. See, I saw someone mention him. He's lovely. Where is he? The World of Antiquity. He's lovely. I think because I just spend a lot of time doing ancient history stuff that I need a break, if that makes sense. Like, I need to watch something that's completely unrelated to anything I do. So that's why I like gaming channels and true crime, because it's just totally unrelated and I find them more relaxing. Poetry for the Insane is like, I was about to leave, but the dog's here. She's here. She's made herself known. She gets very upset when people enter the building and wake her up. She's like, no. So I need to watch... So I'm taking up the names that people are sending me. The Casual Criminalist, I pop that there as well. Lil's like, is she okay? She's fine. She's just being a drama queen because I haven't played with her for like, now it's like nearly 3 hours I've been on stream. And she's like, play with me. Play with me. I'll make a scene just to let you know that I exist. Simon Whistler is taking over YouTube. I have never heard of them. I will look up Simon Whistler. I've never heard. Isn't it funny? There's these big channels. Like, I only just discovered Coffee House Crime like last week, and I was like, they've got over 1 million subscribers. I've never heard of them before. No, I've never heard of M. Laser History either. I will look this up. Because I don't go into the history world of YouTube, because I just keep myself... Otherwise, it's just too much, if that makes sense. Like, you get sick of it. And also, I'm very scared of copying people, and I try to stay away from, I don't want to step on anyone's toes, so I stay away from other channels that are similar to me, just so I know that I'm keeping it authentic to myself and my research or what I'm reading about. That's not because I don't want to support them, because I do, but I'm just very aware that I don't want to accidentally cover the same things or whatever. Classical and Ancient Classical Civilization is a good channel too. Thank you. Oh, he used to be on Time Team. Let's look at him as well. Yeah, I have to be in the mood for ancient history on YouTube, just because I do it all day. So I just don't want to like chill out watching it because I need a break. Oh my god, Daniel, I think my first video of yours was the 7 Deadly Book Sins. You just reminded, I forgot I even made that video. What sort of, dare to know, what sort of gaming do you watch here on YouTube? I watch horror games. We talked about that at the very beginning. I said I just wasted my whole day watching nothing but horror games all day, playthroughs. Has to be like, yeah. It has to be, basically, I watch dark content in my spare time. It's like true crime podcasts, true crime videos, or horror games. I basically watch really dark stuff. Do I watch How to ADHD? I've seen their videos. Yeah, I have. When I discovered it, I found them really useful. This and the autism channels have really shone a light on my life and left me feeling weird in as much as more manageable. Yes, same. Ooh. Would I ever do a video on the Erfurt latrine disaster? It's not something I've ever thought of doing a video on. Have people been doing videos on that? Like, is that a thing that people have done videos on? I have to check now on YouTube. Have anyone... Because I get scared. There are a couple of videos on YouTube that I've done it. So I can never compare to the history channels that have animation, I swear. They're so good. And I feel like really shit in comparison. I'd like to do one, but I'm scared that mine would not compared to like the little like animated videos that exist on it. And again, it's so annoying because I had this idea in my head so long ago about doing dark history videos, and then Bailey Sarian started doing them. I was like, oh, I can't compete with Bailey Sarian. I used to watch her a lot, but I haven't watched her in a while. I think there was just something a little bit uncomfortable about how she was covering some of the cases. That made me a little bit, I don't know. I'd like to do dark stories. Oh, I'd like to watch dark stories about YouTubers. Oh, I wouldn't want to go down that rabbit hole. That's like the gossip world. I wouldn't want to look at like gossip and all that jazz. No, people cover that a lot. Though, has anyone watched that recent video about the potential Nazi symbolism of a crypto or NFT thing that's going on at the moment? I watched that this morning and that was very depressing. I was like, wow, that really depressed me. Why did I watch that? It was by someone called Ponty something. Pont. He was something Pont. He's clearly a famous YouTuber. I never heard of him before. It was just recommended because I watched H3. Oh no, Philion, not Pont. Philion, the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Oh dear, that was... I'm not sure if it's all just coincidental or not, but it was very disturbing to watch. It was very disturbing. But I wouldn't want to talk about other YouTubers. I don't like talking about other people. You know, like, that's just them. Oh, you may... a small channel called Frolic Through Fiction. She's a booktube channel based in Edinburgh. I have heard of her. I did like her videos, yes. I like your videos without fancy animation because I often put them on while crafting, so I then prefer videos that you don't have to look at all the time. Oh, that's interesting to know. That's good to know. Oh, Lena Norm's channel's amazing. Yeah, Lena's wonderful. She's a lovely lady. We've met a couple of times in the past and she's really, really lovely, and I've been subscribed to her for many years now. She's incredible and I love how successful she's become on YouTube. She's a solid little bean. She's really lovely. Like people have died. Ooh, I wouldn't want to cover people who have died on YouTube. That sounds a bit no. I'm sure that's a thing. In like true crime thing, but I don't think I could cover things like that. But I'd like to do, I mean, again, I wanted to do dark history things, but again, I think Bailey Sarian's really covered that ground. I wouldn't want to step on her toes. Try simple animation, like, oh no, I don't have time to learn anything new. I don't have time to learn animation as well. I just don't have the time to do stuff like that. I'm already doing too many things at the same time. Michelle, I would 100% watch you play horror games. I don't have any gaming equipment or anything like that to be able to play. I enjoyed playing them, but I don't have stuff to play. I don't have like a proper computer or even like PlayStations and stuff. And I wouldn't want to spend my money on that kind of stuff either. It's a very expensive thing to hobby. Yes, the people who kill, YouTubers who kill, that goes into the true crime thing, doesn't it? There are true crime people who have covered those YouTubers. I wouldn't personally want to cover. I went more like dark history, as in like ancient history. Not. I don't think I want to talk about very relevant events like that. Particularly when there are people who idolize those nasty YouTubers, like the ones that have killed people and stuff, or who have died. They have like groupies, which is really disturbing. What was I talking about? Starcaptor, Told in Stone channel don't use animation at all, only pictures, yet it's growing faster than most animated fans. Oh, that's good to know. I'll look at them. Told in Stone. I shall add them to my list as well. Thank you. Any cool apps or tools that you use on your iPad to work on your PhD? The only thing I use is GoodNotes. I love GoodNotes. That's the only thing I use on my iPad for my PhD. You can upload your file, like your PDFs, into it, and then you can write and comment on the PDFs, and it keeps them and you can organise them. Highly recommend that. That's the only app I use. Yeah, sorry. Wow, I just got a sad recommendation video called "If You Don't Have a Purpose, You're Wasting Your Life." Oh dear, that is a sad recommendation. Oh my god, I think, what was I going to say? I swear there's something very similar. There's some quite harsh personal development channels, aren't there? There was one book that I read recently, and basically he argued that you shouldn't do anything in life unless you're the best at it, and it was the weirdest thing I've ever read. He was genuinely saying, like, if you're in number 5, like if you want to play basketball and you're not in the top 3, you're not number 1, just give up, don't bother. Like, unless you're, basically argued, unless you're famous or you become number 1, don't waste your life doing it. And I was like, so we can't do things for pleasure anymore. We just have to do things to become the best. Like, we can't just do something even if we're bad at it because we enjoy it. Like, that wasn't an option. It was so weird. It was the weirdest personal development book I've ever read. Would I ever do a video on Vlad the Impaler? I potentially would. It's not something I'm against. I just don't know enough about him. It's not my field of expertise. I'd have to learn about him. Yeah, he's someone I could do, but I'd have to learn about him. So it's not something I could do very soon. Michelle, I mean, you say that more reactions to conspiracy theories would be interesting in terms of classics. I've never seen any more. Like, I haven't seen any more. Like, people say, like, react to more. I'm like, I don't think there are any. Like, I've never seen any. I've never come across any more than that one. That was the only weird one I've ever seen. Oh, Natalie says, I love watching your videos where you debunk false facts about history. Love from Brazil. Thank you, Natalie. It's hard to come across them. There's not many of them. There's more false facts about other things in life, but the ancient history and history world, people don't really talk about it. I miss things. Hello, Overtures. Have I ever watched Funny Old World? Johanna, who does the content, is interesting too. No, I've never heard of them. I will add them to my list. Thank you for the recommendation. I will look them up. Damn, why is YouTube calling us out? I know, all of us are like, I have no purpose. We're all sitting there like, I have no purpose. Our lives are completely... I haven't read The First Ghost yet. That's what I'm really excited to do, but again, Star Capture, I'm always get scared. When I'm really excited for a book, I get scared to read it, because I'm like, what if it's not as good as I hope it is? But I have got that one, I haven't read it yet. No matter what the age, you can make people believe in a lot of strange or irrational things by using the correct rhetoric, presentation styles, or social pressures. Yeah, that's really true, sadly. It's really true. Yeah, there are some really weird personal development YouTubers out there. There is some strange angle. I love personal development YouTubers, don't get me wrong. I watch a lot of them. But there are some weird ones out there. Listen's back. Hello. I have to say, I genuinely hate the idea you must be the best at anything you do. It's a really toxic mentality in the art community, and it stops people from creating. Yeah, I will try and find which book it was. I'm pretty sure it was a physical book that I read rather than like an article. Let me look at my Goodreads and see. I'm pretty sure I read it this year, and I thought, that's a weird fucking claim. Why would you claim that that's all you have to do things for in life? Where was it? Let me look at my readings list. No, it mustn't have been this year. I can't see it on my list. It must have been last year. You know when like a book haunts you and you're like, huh, that was weird. I can't see my last year's reading list. It was definitely at the end of last year then, because I feel like it's still haunting me to this day. That was an argument made in a book. It was so weird. It was so weird. Oh, shame I can't find it. Read. Sometimes I had to go through bloody ages, like read. Beep, 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 beep. Whilst that's loading, that's going a long time. No, what did I say? Did I say something that wasn't? Did I say the Dark Ages didn't exist? I didn't say that, did I? I saw Daniel say, but the Dark Ages did. They did exist. Did I say that? Not? I'm very confused. Oh yeah, Feli says, I'm not the best at breathing, cooking, doing groceries, but does that mean I should stop doing those? It's such, yeah, it was a really, really weird sentiment they were expecting. I was like, huh? It was just basically saying, like, if you're not in the top. So it basically said, if you're not in the top 3, you shouldn't be doing it. And then if you're doing it for many years and you're still only in the top 3 and you're not number 1, drop it immediately. It was like a weird, like, efficiency book that was just arguing that if you're to be efficient with where you spend your life, if you're just not number 1, move on. I was like, that's so weird. Why would you argue that? What's wrong with having fun and enjoying stuff? You should talk about cinematography and its portrayal in classic period or film. Oh, I know nothing about cinematography, Daniel. I know nothing about that field. I could not possibly... I think I watch around 3 films a year maximum. And there are some years in my life where I've gone through some years in my life I've never watched a film. Like, I've gone through one point where there was 4 years I never watched a single film. I do not watch films at all. Oh, I see. It was Tree Surgeon who said the Dark Age is not existing. Oh, it was a conspiracy theory. I see. No, don't worry. Daniel and Tree Surgeon got a bit confused. Tree Surgeon was saying, what about the conspiracy theory that the Dark Ages didn't exist? Is that a conspiracy theory? I did not know. The Dark Ages didn't exist. Conspiracy theory. I have to look into that. I love Jonna Jinton's content. She lives about a day of travelling north of me. Wow. Jonna Jinton. I will have to look them up. I've never heard of them. There's some really beautiful channels that I just like watching because they're, peaceful to watch. Do I watch K-dramas? Is that K-dramas? I've never watched K-drama, and I've actually never heard any K-pop in my life. Like, I know recently, like, BTS apparently broke up. I've never heard a single song of theirs. I feel like I completely missed something out, and they're like, they've been going for like a decade. I was like, wow, I went a whole decade without hearing a single song of probably the biggest band in the world. I was like, that's how, when I say I don't listen to music, that's how bad I mean it. Like, I don't listen to music. I listen to the same songs, like, for the rest of my life, over and over again, and that's it. Like, the same, 40 songs in my list, and that's it. Cap says, I liked your Roald Dahl video. You said he wasn't a great person, but you didn't call for radical action. Made me rethink my reaction to OSC. What's OSC? I have to look that up. I mean, there's no... I really don't know what OSC is. But, I mean, there's no point doing radical action. He's dead. He's long dead. Like, again, there's no point, really, is there? Like, I'm not going to... Oh my god! Oh, it's my dog. I just had something bang on the floor, and I realised that she's pushed her plate off the bed. Okay, my dog does this weird thing where she's not eating her food at the moment, so I gave her some dry kibble, but she won't eat her dry kibble on the floor. She'll only eat it if it's wrapped up in a blanket on the bed. I know, it's weird behaviours that your pets do. So I wrapped it up, and I've just heard metal fall. I went, oh my god, what was that? And I've realised that she's gone and pushed it off the bed. So when I go around there, there'll be lots of biscuits all over the bedroom floor. But yeah, no, there's no point. I'm not here. I think people misread a lot of the things that I say. Just because I stand up for something, like I'm against like stuff. I'm against some stuff, and I disagree with a lot of people, but I'm not here to preach some kind of weird radicalization of people should do something. Like, I'm here to express ideas and just share facts, and then people can do with that what they will. I'm not here to like say you should do this. Like, I've been vegan since 2014. I've never told someone to become vegan. Like I'm just a person that expresses ideas and shares information, and then that's it. I'm not here to like tell people what to believe or what to think or what to do. Like, that's just it. People want to like cancel Roald Dahl, they can if they want. I don't care. He's dead. I'm like, it doesn't... There's so many worse things going on in the world. Why would I care? Mr. Bonsi said, a dark history topic I'd like to see is Charlemagne's forced conversion of the Saxons. See, I know nothing about that. It's not my field. Medieval period, I stop. I stop by the Byzantine. I'll have to look into it. Because again, the whole period is not in my field of research. Oh, what have I missed? Oh, I missed a Natalie. Natalie, are you talking about the woman who believed Rome didn't exist? Because I've already made a big video on her. Daniel's like, who's BTS? A band. And Gabriel's like, BTS broke up. I was like, I'm sorry I just broke that news to you. Yeah, they're the biggest band in the world, I believe. A Korean pop band. And they broke up. It was on the news a while ago. They're going on different things. Lorraine's going to go now. I enjoyed the stream. Thank you so much. Well, I'm going to end it as well because I need to have some dinner. Oh, Jennifer Brooks' channel is really good for books. Thank you for the recommendation. I will add that. Oh, Janice has just joined as I'm ending the stream. Thank you so much, Janice. Oh no, we're wrapping up the stream, Poetry for the Insane. Do not worry, you're not leaving midstream at all. Get best of luck with your hangover. Sly was like, I didn't hear BTS broke up. I've never heard any of it. Thank you again for the congratulations, Poetry Insane. I know the Massacre of the Saxons because of Sir Christopher Lee. Oh god, yeah! How funny. Well, I will wrap this now up. We've been going for bloody over 3 hours now. I wasn't expecting that at all. Thank you so much for talking with me. I was like, no one's going to come. I'm just going to be talking to myself for like an hour. I was like, just me chatting to myself like a podcast all over again. But thank you for people who donated as well. That was really kind of you. Thank you. And everyone for joining me and chatting with me and staying for the whole 3 hours. That's very intense. Oh, thank you, Gecko. I'm really proud. Thank you for saying that. Thank you so much, Lil, for joining. I appreciate you were here and enjoyed it as well. Bye-bye, Michelle. secretly ending the stream because of the pain caused by BTS breakup. Yeah, I was like just dropped this like truth bomb on everyone. I didn't realise. I'm like, okay, I'm backing away. I've just accidentally opened it. I've broken the bad news, now I leave. Oh, thank you. I'll ask you about dinner because I was a person who made dinner at the start of the stream. Like, Felly was like, we started with a dinner and we're ending with a dinner. I'm going to go make my cauliflower salad. I'm going to roast some cauliflower. I am streaming on the other channel tomorrow, Poetry for the Insane. It will be at 4 p.m. BST until 7. So we're doing 3 hours over there as well, but we're just going to be studying for the whole time. So I hope people join if they want to join. Oh, John, it was an honour speaking with you. Thank you. You too as well. It was an honour speaking with all of you. It was a nice stream. Thank you so much, Lumi. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you all for becoming Patreons or donating or just chatting with me. I really appreciate it. Athena says, also, I think you might have been thinking of Atomic Habits. Is that the one? Yes! Athena! Yes! It was that one. Because everyone says it's an amazing book. And I was like, what's so amazing about this? That's the one. Yes, I did read that last year. That was a weird thing to preach. Thank you, Athena. I appreciate you bringing that up. Angelo says, have a great evening and maybe try some Manic Street Preachers. They have music themes up your alley. Oh, thank you. I'll check them out. Thank you for joining me, Dorota. You're very welcome. Thank you, Gabriel. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much, Big D. Nope. Thank you. I'm glad you were here. Nope. Bye-bye, everyone. Oh, wait. So I'll just ask one last question. Excited for Madeline Miller's upcoming Persephone? I am. Dido would have been a good one. But she may have said she may do that one later. I am excited for Persephone. I do like Madeline Miller. She's very sweet. I got to talk to her very briefly a few months ago and ask her a question, and she was really lovely to me. So she's really sweet. But have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you all for joining me so much. Thank you, Kieran. Thank you, Volcatronic, Natalie. I'm so glad Athena brought that up. I'm glad you agree with me, Athena. I'm so glad you all enjoyed the stream. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening or day or whatever you're at, all of you. Don't worry, Kieran. Thank you, John. Thank you, all of you. There's been lots of you here, but I really appreciate it.